So for the better part of a decade, it was all just about getting absolutely blitzed out of my mind. Bankruptcy, divorce, addicted. I was not a good human for a long time.
So what was that like for you? How did you pull out of that?
They're stripping us of our health. They're stripping us of our wealth. I mean, at the end of the day, right, you go into this Western medicine vicious cycle. You never come out.
Patient cured as a customer lost.
By 65 years old, you're on 16 different medications. Whereas now with tools that we have brought in, I am feeling the best I've ever felt. I'm 43, have more energy than I've ever had. Cognitively, I'm more focused and I'm shredded.
Yeah, and it seems that your strategy is very aligned with like a Bitcoiner's mindset in that there's a very low time preference, high quality existence.
For the people that are watching, for the men that are watching, would you do anything for your kid? They're saying yes. You're saying yes, but you won't get healthy for them.
Michael Morelli, so pumped to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. I've been following Robert for a very long time.
Me too.
And the first episode that I saw of him, or first podcast, was when he was on Tom Bilyeu's Impact Theory.
Me too.
Blew my mind.
That was epic. Yeah.
So being here is awesome. I'm excited to meet Robert tonight. And I've gotten to know you. I think you're amazing, and I'm excited to have this conversation. We'll go deep.
Yes. Well, thank you. It's kind of big shoes to fill, doing this without Robert, but I'm grateful. I keep basically going where I'm asked to be. Is kind of this interesting dynamic that unfolds when you start living the Bitcoin life. It becomes magical in its ways. And so, yes, I'm very grateful. So you were introduced to me by a buddy of mine in London.
Yes, David.
Yes.
Right? David Sr.
One of my favorites.
Yes. Yep.
Hardcore maxi.
Triple, quadruple.
Yes.
I don't know if it goes further than that, for sure, that's him.
A little toxic, but in a good way.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I've been to several conferences and traveled around with him. He slays the shitcoiners. It is quite comical to watch. But yeah, he reached out to me and said, hey, you need to talk to Morelli about Fitscript and Peptides. And I'm 40 years old.
Yep.
I've never had my blood work done. And I'm like, this is time for me. Well, it's Bitcoin. You're just like, oh my gosh, I want to live a long, healthy life.
Right.
Dad and I grinded so hard for so many years that it's like, finally at a place where I can focus on this stuff.
I'm glad you're doing it at 40, right? And not 50 or 60.
How old are you?
I'm 43.
Okay.
I'll be 44 in November.
Yes.
Because, right, Bitcoin is here. We want to watch it grow, become even more established, change the world, become, right, like hopefully millions of dollars per coin, which I think we all believe. But then, right, why get there without your health? There's no point.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, it's a common theme amongst the Bitcoin community where people get into Bitcoin and they start to, there's something that happens where people really prioritize reorganizing their life in so many ways. It's very empowering in that way. And I've experienced it. So many of my friends have. Health and wellness. So tell me about you and how you got here. It's my understanding you've had quite a interesting life, some addiction. I don't know. I guess maybe just let's walk through the whole thing because these things I actually don't know about you. Where were you born? Kind of childhood
I was born
stuff.
in Orange County.
Okay, California.
So I know you can relate to that. Didn't live there long. Came to Wisconsin. And I've got, I'll preface this by saying kind of as we go through this, I've got a chip on my shoulder for Western medicine and, right, like decentralized wealth, decentralized health. We need to take control. If I take you back, we'll call it, 20 to 30, because I was a cocaine addict, alcohol, cocaine. It would be like you have a couple of drinks, the next thing you're looking for an 8-ball. Right. And it was such a dark path, so for the better part of a decade, and it started with ecstasy when I was 19.
Wow.
Underground raves, right? I go from Wisconsin, I moved to Florida. I'm living with my father and my stepmother. My mom couldn't afford us, right? So she shipped my brother and I down to live with my father, who was well off.
Divorced parents.
Divorced parents.
When did they split?
When I was 2 years old.
Mine split when I was 5.
Yep.
Yep.
So really, really young. I don't really remember the split. I just remember it being very, very hard for my mom. You know, she wasn't getting the support from my dad. I think my dad was, giving her $50 a week, 2 kids, right? Single mom, entrepreneur, doing the best she could. So there was always this scarcity mindset, right? We never really had much. And so at one point there was a breaking point, I can't take care of you. And so shipped us down and we started living with my dad. I was sober all the way through high school. And then all of a sudden I tried ecstasy. I was just getting out of, it was just my senior year, I was getting out of, and I played basketball for 4 years, just getting out of, and I started using ecstasy.
Was that the first drug that you did?
First drug I did.
Really?
Ecstasy. Didn't even drink alcohol.
Okay, I started drinking alcohol when I was like 15, the same time I started smoking weed. I actually didn't do MDMA until I was like in my mid 30s.
What did you think when you first did it? Honest.
It was, so I did it in a more like a therapeutic intentional setting.
Sure.
I did mushrooms for the first time when I was 18 years old. That like really blew my mind, kind of in a scary but positive way.
Sure.
The MDMA was, I probably had more than I needed. I was basically laid out on the floor for a little while, and it was just this very powerful experience for me in the sense that I realized how ridiculously hard I was being on myself.
Oh.
And it was this moment of like, I'm trying too hard. I'm like, I'm not valuing and appreciating myself. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was like, she had it, and she like took some. It's like, I'm not feeling any. And then I like put another pinch on my finger, took more. And then about a half an hour later, I was like, I gotta lay down. I can't do anything.
Yep.
But it was like this weird internal journey that was like this self-therapy session. And like, I felt phenomenal for months afterwards. It changed my life in a lot of ways. Complete
opposite for me. Went in, abused it, and it was all just about getting absolutely blitzed out of my mind. A couple of weeks in, 1 pill, 2 pills wouldn't even do anything. And I'm doing 3, 4, 5 a night. It just, I'm an all or nothing guy.
Me too.
No matter what it is, so if I'm using, I'm going, I can't drink 1 drink.
Same here.
Right? Like there's just no point. Why are we drinking 1 drink?
At this point, I can. Actually, I had serious drinking challenges and from, through my 20s and into my mid 30s. I did every kind of drinking you could do, responsible drinking, total irresponsible binge drinking. And a lot of things shifted for me. And one thing that I heard, I forget who said it, but it was like this mental flip of like, for going from I want this and I can't have it to I can have this, but I don't want it. Mm-hmm. And then I also concluded, I'm kind of you could say I'm a spiritual person. I believe in vibrational frequency, and I'm kind of fascinated by the idea of quantum physics and creating your reality and whatever. And I concluded, for me at least, and I see this in other people, but I don't think this is always specifically the case, but I determined that alcohol was the biggest hindrance for me to be able to obtain and maintain a higher vibrational state.
Absolutely. Right?
Yeah, and I think about having a high...
They call it spirits for a reason.
Yes. Right? I've seen some of these YouTube videos about that, and there was one on Universe Inside Us that was like 15 minutes. It was so good, and it got taken down.
Why?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so ecstasy was the gateway. Ecstasy quickly turned into cocaine, opioids. I remember, snorting morphine.
Really?
Oxycodone.
See, my mother got all fucked up on pharmaceuticals that she was prescribed to by my stepfather, who was a psychiatrist. And so I developed a very deep aversion to pharmaceuticals at a young age.
You saw it ruin her. And so you're like, no way. I'm not going there.
And I just smoked a ton of weed. I love smoking weed. And then I did on and off drinking up until I was like 30 years old.
Yeah. So, I'm 23, 24 at the time. My mom comes down to Florida to save me.
You have your own place?
I was living with a girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
We were just using. I mean, it was just...
Were you selling? How were you paying for it?
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, I was selling. I was using. And I would rotate. So I figured out like if you do cocaine a bunch, right, like your tolerance builds. And so then you need more cocaine. And so for me, I would just go from cocaine to ecstasy to opioids to cocaine to ecstasy to opioids.
Over what kind of duration?
So this was my life from 19 years old to 31.
Yeah, well, okay. And the cycles, what would you do? Like a couple of months of one and then get heavy into the other?
No, like I would rotate, I'm high for at least 4 days a week for the better part of that decade. Some concoction, right? And I remember my mom coming down to save me. She had figured out that I was living in an apartment, and she came down, literally flew down, didn't tell me, found out where I was living from the girl's mother, knocked on the apartment door. I didn't know who it was. She answered, and I was throwing up. I was so high when she came in that I was throwing up in the sink.
Wow.
High on oxycodone at the time. I remember like it was yesterday. I was so high that I put a cigarette out right on my hand. I still have a scar here. That's the level of abuse that was happening. And so people see me today, right? Don't drink, don't smoke, gave it all up. They see me today and they can't even comprehend, right? I tell the story and they can't even comprehend because of what I have been able to build and establish as a man today.
Yes. Yeah. And so what was the moment, or was it a rock bottom? What was the thing that caused you that did you pull yourself out of it? Was there an intervention? Because for me, I felt very fortunate that I was able to make the changes in my life that I needed to without like needing to go to rehab or AA or having such a monumental catastrophe.
Yep.
I just basically got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I get it.
And so it was like kind of a progressive thing. Over the last 10 years, I've drank like a couple of times. It just hurts. It's fun while you're doing it. And the next day I just feel wrecked and I'm like, I'm not interested. So what was that like for you? How did you pull out of that? And you're 30 years old or so when this happened? 31.
So my mom comes down, saves me. I go back to Wisconsin to live with her. And I get sober for a little bit. And then I get in with the crowd. I'm around it again. All of a sudden I start using. Now I'm hiding it from her. She finds out again. I'm in and out of therapy.
And drinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm in and out of therapy, right? So I'm taking the P tests. I'm doing all the things, right?
Legal issues or going to therapy just willingly
to satisfy her,
yeah,
right? To make her happy, right? Okay, cool. I'll do this. Meanwhile, I'm still using. And so, that went on for a period of time. I was a bar manager. So I ran the top 4 nightclubs in Wisconsin. And so I'm in that scene, right? After parties, like I'm like the top 4 nightclubs. So I'm the man in Milwaukee and I have access to everything.
Totally.
NBA players are coming in. We're partying with NBA, NBA players, right? Just like scenes out of the movies, right? So I'm back in it. Now I get deeper and deeper and deeper in it. I end up losing that, going to work for my stepfather and still using, still kind of secretly. And then I started a business called Television Frenzies.
What does your stepfather do?
Stepfather owned the 7 Mile Fair.
Okay, so the fairgrounds.
A flea market.
Flea market.
Yep.
What were you doing for him?
I was managing his 2 buildings. And then shortly after, I started an as seen on TV business, selling the choppers, the pillows, and the gadgets in there. I'd have ShamWow booths. I'd hire sales guys to demo the ShamWow. And that turned into a pretty lucrative business. So I was getting a paycheck from him. And then I started that business. That turned into 7 stores. So
you're 32 years old when you started this.
No, I'm not 32. I'm 28, 29 in there is when I started Television Frenzies. Max out all my credit cards, get a bunch of product, open stores in the mall. I end up in a couple of years, I have 7 stores. We're doing $5 million. I have 33 employees still using. I'm still using at this time. The addiction got so bad that I would go into the office and now I wasn't just using at night. I was actually starting to use during the day.
Cocaine mostly?
Cocaine.
Yep.
Yeah. And I hired an assistant. So just getting ready to get married. Hired an assistant. So now I'm using with her. Now I have an affair because I'm getting not quite an affair yet because we're not technically married, but an affair. So now I'm cheating on my soon to be wife with Amanda and using. And so next thing you know, the bottom falls out of the business.
How?
Well, I personally guaranteed a bunch of mall leases And so I was selling the choppers, the pillows, the Snuggies, if you remember the Snuggie.
I do.
Right?
I remember the ShamWow and the Snuggies.
So you come into the store, right, and you want to try on the Snuggie, or you want to try the new ab gadget, or, you know, play with the slap chop. Well, all of a sudden, Walgreens, Walmart, Kmart, all the gas stations started carrying this stuff. And so it wasn't fun to come to my store anymore. So I had $500,000 worth of mall leases that I had personally guaranteed, but no one was coming to my store. So that, coupled with spending so much money on cocaine and drinks for all of my friends, every time we went out, there's 10 or 12 of us. Cool, I got it, just put it on my tab. Well, that caught up, and I ran out of money.
Did you own a home?
I did not.
Living in a rental?
I'm living with my soon-to-be wife who owns the home.
Gotcha.
And so I'm having an affair, getting ready to get married. I try to call off the wedding. I'm literally like a month away, and I meet Amanda. I'm trying to call off the wedding. My mom's like, you can't call off this wedding.
Why
like,
did you want to call the wedding off?
Because I knew that
it was just a mess.
Yeah, I knew that she at that point, right? I knew like if I'm doing this, right, like that's not the relationship I'm supposed to be in. And so, but the invitations went out. There's 150 people. It was like $100,000 wedding. And like the show, right? You know, like go put on the show. And I ended up going through with it. Next thing you know, so I'm married. A month in, Amanda, my assistant, who I had an affair with, tells me she's pregnant. Wow. I said, no, you're not. No way. Are you sure it's mine? Right? All the things that you would say in the situation, right? Because now I had stopped cheating. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm married. Let me just, right? Like, let's just figure this out. Sure enough, it was mine. She was pregnant with my daughter. So now I end the marriage. I'm going bankrupt, literally, chapter 7 bankruptcy at 31 years old. I go through the divorce, and I move back in with my mother at 31 years old.
Wow. I appreciate hearing all this. This is powerful stuff, man.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, like low.
No legal issues though. No DUIs or getting arrested.
I had a DUI when I was way younger.
Okay.
When I was like 17 or 18. Yeah, but no legal issues, nothing like that. Just like bankruptcy, divorce, addicted, right? Just the life was just falling apart.
So you were able to hold it together really well in one capacity, but in another, you were like doing things obviously that now at this point kind of blew up. And within this whole process, like you're conflicted, I'm assuming internally, you know, like this isn't, did you have an intuitive feeling that like it was?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And now, right. So, you know, what I did was terrible. Wasn't fair to her. Great girl. Great woman. And I'm really happy that she's happy and she's got a family and kids. Like I've told her many times, like, I am so sorry for what I did. And as I'm going through it, right, you fucking know.
I did when I was making the mistakes I made in my life.
You know.
You can't, so my dad always tells me like, you can't negotiate with life. You can't negotiate with the universe. You will always get exposed, whether it's in this life or whatever comes afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Karma's a real thing. You know, and I was a piece of shit for a long time, Eric. You know, I was not a good human for a long time. I was manipulative. I took advantage of women, cheated on all of my ex-girlfriends, all of them, every single one of them. I was the guy that you would never want your daughter to be around or meet. I was that guy.
iCoin Technology has released a slick new hardware wallet. It looks like a mini iPhone with a high-res 3-inch touchscreen and camera on it. The device has no Wi-Fi, no cellular connection, and no GPS. It is an air-gapped hardware wallet which uses QR codes and a camera to communicate with the Bitcoin network. It has a built-in camera which is required for air-gap operation, and it has an optional Bluetooth compatibility. It's really a brand new user interface and user experience for a Bitcoin hardware wallet. iCoin makes self-custody accessible, easy to use, and non-intimidating. It even comes with an optional custom iCoin thermal printer, so you can print out the private key and its associated QR code when you're setting up the wallet. This makes setup quick and simple. Also, it is easy to restore the wallet just by reading the seed phrase QR code with the wallet camera. And as we always talk about on this show, the only way you can truly own your Bitcoin is by having it in self-custody. So you need a device like the iCoin wallet to truly own your Bitcoin. So go to iCointechnology.com/breedlove today for 30% off the purchase of this sleek new hardware wallet. Again, that's iCointechnology.com/breedlove. If you're anything like me, you understand that Bitcoin is something we can use every day to connect, to collaborate, and to build stronger, freer communities. As true Bitcoiners, you all know we are each responsible for onboarding more Bitcoiners. That's why I chose to partner with Cowbolt, an expense splitting app that settles in Bitcoin. It can be as simple as splitting a dinner bill. Your friend covers dinner and you reimburse them, but you send it back to him in Bitcoin. Now your friend has their first sats. And as I always say, where your money goes, the mind follows. By using Cowbolt to get Bitcoin into the hands of your friends and family, you can help us orange pill the world. Cowbolt is built to let you split costs, share expenses, and settle instantly, while always keeping full control of your keys. Cowbolt is simple, social, non-custodial, exactly how Bitcoin was meant to be used. If you're serious about Bitcoin, it's time to act like it. Download Cowbolt today on iOS or Android. To learn more, go to cowbolt.com. Again, that's Cowbolt, COWBOLT.com.
In my experience with you, you're a high energy, powerful force. And so maybe this is an assumption, but would you say that, your childhood, the divorce with your parents, like obviously you were experiencing some sort of pain and you're self-medicating and you're a little bit confused. You don't know what's right or wrong. And obviously you're going down this dark path, but like you're a powerful force. And it seems that you've come to a place in your life where you've been able to harness that power and you're channeling it towards pretty good things.
I would agree. I think I have been able to challenge that. I think, when I think about addiction, right? What is addiction? At its core, what is addiction? And it's the seeking of happiness outside of oneself. No matter what the addiction is, the seeking of happiness outside of oneself. And so I never got validation or approval from my dad. I remember the one thing that stands out more than anything about my father. So when I was 13, I was running my dad's flea market operation, kind of like what I built at the 7 Mile Fair with my stepfather. My dad had this operation at the Daytona flea market. And so I gave up all of my weekends from, 12, 13 years old, all the way, for the most part, all the way through high school. And I would go and I would work at the flea market and I would manage it. Initially it was just working, and then I got so good that I would just manage the whole thing for him. And I remember my dad was heavy into horse racing, betting, gambling. And on any given Saturday or Sunday, he would come out after a bad day, right? And find a way to just rip me apart. He would come
verbally or physically?
Verbally.
Okay.
Yeah, big Italian mafioso. Like all of my old high school buddies thought he was in the mafia.
Okay.
Right? Like 250, 260 pounds, my height, like 5'8", just like always aggressive, not a lot of emotion, but angry, right? A lot of anger. Now looking back, right? It's like, there was a lot of anger.
Substances or just gambling?
Never, no substances.
Same with my dad.
Smoked cigars, never a drop of alcohol in his life, never touched a drug in his life.
Same with my dad. And I remember growing up too, and he was like, I never did any drugs because I was scared I would like it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I liked it. So he comes out after a bad day at the track and rips me apart so much where, he's so close to my face, he's like looking at me and spitting on me and pointing at me saying, "You will never be anything without me." Right? So the conversation was whatever he picked apart, and then it turned into, "You will never fucking be anything without me, Michael. You will never," and over and over and over again. I don't know how many times this happened over the course of the time that I worked with him.
And you're like 15, 16, 17
13,
years old.
14, 15. "You'll never fucking be anything without me, Michael. Never." Pointing,
so
spitting. And I remember breaking down on half the times I would break down and I would cry and I would run back into the eye tell. Well, my grandfather on my mother's side was working for him and me at the time, because I was managing it, he would run back and just say, hey, Michael, you can't cry. You can't show him weakness. You can't show him that this is hurting you, that this is bothering you. This went on for years. And while my dad definitely taught me some amazing things, not more by doing as an entrepreneur, he taught me a lot of things, but this is the one thing that I've carried with me. And so there's this approval seeking that has gone on. I just want you to be proud of me, Dad, right? I just want you to be proud of me, although I never heard that, right? Like just those words. Now my dad he just died like 3 weeks ago from cancer. We'll get into that in a minute because I've gotten a chip on my shoulder against Western medicine. But yeah, I never heard that. Never.
Yeah, that's traumatizing. Big time. My dad was always there through a brutal custody battle. My mother remarries this doctor, lots of money, a vendetta against my father for, I don't know, whatever reasons. He got raked through divorce court. After he split with my mother, I have a brother who's 2.5 years younger than me. He got remarried and had 2 more kids. My mother and then his next ex-wife started to work together and just dragged him through divorce court for 20 years. My issue with my dad is I don't remember him actually to this day ever telling me that he loved me, but he was always there. And so for me, I just remember it being at a very young age. My mother's checked out, emotionally. She's all fucked up on pharmaceuticals. And I just wanted my parents to be together and stop fighting. And I think I also, at a young age, like I look at my daughter, of course I'm biased, but she's beautiful and she's just got this, like everyone loves her. She's a special child. I've been told by my parents that like I had this like kind of magical touch. And it just, by the time I was like 8 years old, I was like broken. And I think what I did is I internalized that in a way where I thought if I like wasn't perfect and didn't have the hottest girl and the best grades and the coolest car or whatever, like I wasn't enough. And maybe it stemmed from this thing where like I just wanted to have that admiration from my parents that I had before they split.
Yes.
And I no longer had that. And so that led me down my dark path that I'm grateful to have pulled myself out of. But it's a tough thing. And I feel, the monetary system, the debasing the currency, debase the quality of things. It makes people's lives harder, exacerbates addiction. So much about our world is so fucked.
Yeah, and I can't imagine what life would have been like now. My dad obviously passed. He was 84. Things have gotten a lot harder. I think in some regards, things have gotten easier, but I think in a lot of regards, things have gotten a lot harder. And I think for most people are probably more stressed now today than they were back then.
Yeah, working exponentially harder for a currency growing exponentially weaker. It's one of my favorite sailor quotes.
Yep.
And over the last, I don't know, since 1971, I mean, really for the last 100 years, as the currency has been debased, what the average individual who doesn't own property wants is getting further and further and further away from them. And that Cantillon effect, where the property owning class is getting wealthier at the expense of the non-property owning class, exacerbates all this. I was listening to Jack Mahler's keynote speech recently.
He's one of my favorites, by the way.
I love Mahler. He's fantastic. Yeah. He did a keynote in Prague that was just fire. It was so good. Divorce rates, suicide, addiction, all of these problems are just being exacerbated. And us Bitcoiners think that the root of the problem is the debasement of the currency and the dishonest ledger that our monetary system is built on.
I agree with you. And it's all right. It's all tied together. And we'll talk about health in just a minute, but right. Like it's all big food, big pharma, big money, big banks, like all of it, right, is designed to keep you trapped. Right? Like you just think about the trajectory that most Americans are on with their health, right? By 65 years old, you're on 16 different medications. That's the average. How do you go from 1 to 16 without saying, hey, doc, how long do I have to be on this? By number 5, the 5th medication, are you not like asking questions? Or are you just like, hey, what's 6, what's 7, what's 8, doc? Go ahead,
Yeah, well, a patient cured is a customer lost.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, it's so broken.
Exactly. So, they're stripping us of our health. They're stripping us of our wealth. I mean, at the end of the day, right, you go into this Western medicine vicious cycle. You never come out. Your grandma, your grandpa, they never came out, right? It's like one medication turns into two, turns into doctor visits and x-rays and MRIs. And then it's like, well, I'm sorry, you've got to get your affairs in order.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
That's what happens. And so not only, right, are they stripping you of your health, but during that period of time, my grandma, they stripped her of all of her money. I mean, they were extremely well off, had nothing to leave my mother after her battle with cancer. Took all of it and then killed her.
It's tragic. God, and that's just like, this is such a common story. Not to take away from you, obviously, but like so many people are struggling with like different flavors of effectively like the same root issue in our world today.
Yeah, 100%.
And so you're working with your father, you end up in your 20s, you're going through your ups and downs with drug addiction, you're 30 years old, your marriage falls apart. Then what happens?
That little girl who's here.
Who's quite amazing, by the way. Fantastic energy, I will say.
Yeah, so Karina Marie, I found out I was going to be a dad. Initially, I didn't want to accept it, right? No way. I can't even take care of myself. What do you mean we're going to have a baby? Like, right? Like, I'm addicted to drugs at that point. I'm going bankrupt. I've got $2,000 to my name. What do you mean? There's just no way. And so I pushed and pushed and pushed. And then, right? Pregnancy test, the whole thing. Yes, you are the father. Oh, great. Shit. Now what? Got no money. Broken. That was the turning point for me, because it was either at that point, it was either continue using and die, right? Kill myself from an overdose. 5 of my friends whom I left have died since I left. My best friend died at 36 years old of an overdose.
Of what?
Cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's intense. I don't hear. So I've only done cocaine a couple of times in my life. And the reason that I didn't get into cocaine, was kind of maybe one of the things my dad talked about. Like I never tried drugs, so I might like them. And then when I did cocaine, I probably did it maybe for the first time when I was 18. It was one time. I did it maybe 4 or 5 times in my life. All it made me want to do was talk and drink more and do more cocaine.
That's it.
And I concluded like, wow,
you nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it.
So I was fortunate to not get into that, but I mean, I was close, you could say. I was primed to have that issue, and it did. It just manifested it. I did have the issue that manifested itself in a different way.
You just chose a different vehicle.
Lots of drinking.
Yeah.
Lots of drinking. And I was fortunate that I didn't kill myself or other people. I mean, I got pulled over for a DUI. I was in Humboldt County. I must have been 26 years old. The guy that I worked for lived on the coast, and I lived 2 hours inland in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. And I left a dinner with all these weed growers, and we're having some beers, some like heavy pale ales of some sort. Steelheads, I think there's a brewery in Humboldt County. I must have had like 6 or 7 drinks. I jump into my Tacoma. I drive through these windy, crazy mountain roads. And then the neighbor of the property that I lived on, his wife worked at a bar in a town called Willow Creek. So I pull into the bar because she sends me a text message. Hey, there's a bunch of people here. You should just come by, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how many like Red Bull vodkas or shots of vodka I had, like a lot. And the parking lot of the bar crosses this highway 299, and begins Highway 96, which goes all the way through Wichita and all the way up through Northern California into Oregon. And as soon as I pull out of the parking lot, a sheriff pulls right behind me and follows me for like, I don't know, 5 miles. And I remember I got one fucking eye open and I was just wrecked, dude. I was so wrecked. And he pulls me over, and like, I was toast. I think I blew, I can't remember what I blew. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But I had asked him all these questions, like, do I have to get out of the vehicle? What if I don't blow? Blah, blah, blah. And I was very respectfully kind of challenging the process.
Sure.
And long story short, he was a new sheriff. The DMV pulls your license immediately when you get convicted. You have a criminal case with the county, and then you have a DMV case. So my license got pulled. I hired an attorney that had got some of my friends out of weed charges over the years. He did delayed the case a few times. Basically, he's like, you're toast. Everybody loses their license. You're gonna have to get SR 72 or 22 or whatever it is. You're gonna get your license back in a couple of years. I needed to make it through the growing season. And so I postponed my court hearing a few times. The cop apparently messed the paperwork up, and the DMV subpoenaed the officer that ended up no longer being with the sheriff's department. I ended up getting out of it.
Wow.
It was an absolute miracle. My attorney was retired a couple years later. Was like, you're the exception of the rule, buddy.
Nice.
So yeah, I had some
alcohol
of these challenges.
just ruins people's lives, though. You know, not saying that cocaine doesn't, not saying like, you know, I'm not here to rank them, but alcohol is so fucking bad for you. Like if when you really, really, really look at what it is, what it turns into in the body,
soluble,
how it metabolizes, how it wrecks your liver, dementia. I mean, it is so bad for you. And then you have these other people, right, that are touting, in moderation, one glass of wine.
Resveratrol.
It's not good in any dose, in any amount, period.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I'm a freedom maximalist, though. I think that if people they want to do whatever they want to do and it doesn't harm other people, then I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. But I think what happens, right, is it's a societal thing, right? I'm going out, they're having drinks, I'm having drinks. I feel uncomfortable if I'm having drinks and they're having drinks, so I'm going to have some drinks.
I remember thinking to myself, how can I quit drinking? How can I be the guy amongst all of my peers that drink who doesn't drink? Like, that's an indicator that I have a problem. And I remember like I think it's Bradley Cooper. I was like probably 30 years old. And I remember I was wrecked. Here's actually another quick fucked story. I was about to lose my world. I was broke. I had these fat electrical bills. I'm lawfully growing cannabis in my garage under the Prop 215 medical laws in the state of California at a 501c3, paying taxes, but drinking. And I was on and off. And I would quit for a couple of months, and then I would like have a drink. A week later, have another drink. Before you know it, I'd be binge drinking. And I was always able to drink and then still do what I needed to do, even though I was like not doing maybe the best job. And I had to sell my pickup truck to pay my electrical bill. And an ex-girlfriend of mine had just bought a new car, and she had this like old little shitty car. And so I was borrowing this. I think I was renting it from her for like a couple of months. And I go to my buddy's house, and I remember, and what I used to do is I would go get little shots of vodka, and I would drink them like first thing in the morning. I would like, when I was running through town, I would like go just get these little shots, and I would take a shot and I'd throw it away at the gas station or whatever. Like I was kind of smart about not obviously having an open container, but obviously a fucking idiot there. I'm like drinking, I'm driving and whatever. And I was drinking in the morning. I was working.
In the morning. That's
10 o'clock. I woke up. I felt like shit. I probably had like 2 little nip bottles of Smirnoff or whatever.
Wow.
I had to go pick up some cash that was owed to me, and then I'd stop by, and it was like, and I would always at most of the time I would just get what I was drink then because I knew it was bad. So I didn't have like big reserves of alcohol. So it was like I went and picked up cash on the way back. I stopped at the liquor store. Of course, the guy knows who I am. I buy my little shots. I drink some shots, and then I had to, I did something else. I got 6 packs of beer. I did some work in my grow room, and I ended up at a friend's house, and he had like some Patron or something. And so we're drinking, and I needed to go home. I had to like switch a valve for a reservoir so my crop doesn't die. And I don't remember this. I don't remember leaving, but I woke up the next day on my living room floor with like pain in my testicle, actually, which was really weird. And I woke up and I was just like, my crotch hurt. And I was like, with the biggest wave of anxiety ever. And I was like, what the fuck happened? I walk outside and the car is in my driveway, demolished. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then over the next like couple of months, I had these like flashbacks. I think what happened was when I was turning off of a main road to go down to my house, maybe like less than a mile away. A car pulled out in front of me, a red truck, and pulled out in front of me erratically. And I hit the truck. And I'm like pretty sure this is what happens, is like little moments coming through. And someone got out of the truck, jumped in the car, and was able to drive the car to my house and drop me off. I think they had been drinking because it was a gas station with a bar, and it must have been like midnight. And then that still wasn't the end for me. It still wasn't but it cleaned me up for a couple of months. You know, I bought a new vehicle. I was able to work, but then there was still, so I still probably had like a year of like my R&D, I call it, you know, trying to negotiating with life.
Yes.
Like I'm doing this thing that I know is not good for me.
Yep.
And I'm like, but I'm smart and I'm hardworking and I can
justifying any way you can.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forget multivitamins and other supplements. Animal organs are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. You can get 100 times more nutrients from organs than you can from muscle meats. But the problem with eating organs is that they are difficult to find in stores, they are difficult to prepare, and even when they are prepared well, they often don't taste great. Thankfully, Heart and Soil Supplements has made consuming organ meats so much easier by providing powderized organs in capsule form. Organ meats include everything your body needs to thrive: vitamins, minerals, peptides, proteins, and growth factors. This is why organ meats were the most prized foods for our ancestors. Fortunately for us, Heart and Soil makes these treasured foods easily accessible. So go to heartandsoil.co today and use discount code BREEDLOVE to get started on your journey to optimal health and vitality. Again, that's heartandsoil.co, discount code BREEDLOVE. What if I told you that you could lower your tax bill and stack Bitcoin at the same time? Well, by mining Bitcoin with Blockware, you can. New guidelines from the Big Beautiful Bill allow American Bitcoin miners to write off 100% of their mining hardware investment in a single year. That's right, a 100% write-off. So if you had $100,000 of income or capital gains, you could write off that entire amount by investing it in Bitcoin mining hardware. Blockware's mining as a service allows you to start mining Bitcoin right now with minimal effort. Blockware handles everything from securing the miners to sourcing low-cost energy to configuring the mining pool. They do it all. You can stack Bitcoin at a discount every day and save big when tax season comes. So you can get started today by going to mining.blockwaresolutions.com/breedlove. Again, that's mining.blockwaresolutions.com/breedlove.
Yeah. So you have a couple buddies overdose.
Yep. Since I left, not while I was there, since I left.
Right.
So
you got a daughter.
Yeah, I moved back in with my mom at 31. Find out I was gonna have a daughter. She's born. Me, Amanda, mom, and Karina are living with my mom. So I remember another sort of turning point, or I think this was called turning point, not breaking point, right? Because I remember carrying 2 bags of groceries up 2 flights of stairs.
Apartment or a nice house or
no,
what?
my mom's house.
Your mom's house.
Yep.
Is she well off?
My mom was
middle class.
My mom wasn't well off, but my stepdad was extremely well off.
Okay.
Extremely. A 7-mile fair, tons of land. So I remember carrying 2 bags of groceries up 2 flights of stairs, winded and out of breath. And I said to myself, something's got to change. This was in culmination with the birth of my daughter.
Smoking cigarettes?
No.
Okay.
Never smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. And then I just stopped. I started reading the Bible. I start to attend an online church. So now I'm watching church on Sundays. I'm reading a Bible, and I trade drugs literally for dumbbells. And I got fit. So over a period of 113 days, I go from, 25% body fat down to 8. I see my abs. I'm in the best shape of my life.
32?
31, 32.
Okay.
Right in there. And people start to notice. So I'm going to coffee shops. People are noticing, right? Like, oh my gosh, you look great. And then for whatever reason, something clicked. And I said, well, if I can do this, I can show other people how to do it too. So I started posting content on social media. This is when no one was watching. Like, it was a ghost town. Think Twitter, which is now X, was first. Then I moved over to YouTube, which 2013 of May is, you'll find my very first YouTube video that I was in my mom's basement. There's a workout. I did a series of workouts. I
saw that. I was scrolling through your channel last week.
That was in her basement. Then Instagram hit and I go on Instagram. So now I'm just sharing this experience, right? I'm sharing the spiritual side and Jesus Christ and my relationship with him. I'm sharing just vulnerable, transparent through the whole thing.
And why did you, what caused you to want to put this all out on social media? Because in a lot of ways that was ahead of the time, you know, like you felt called to do it. Did you want social praise? Was it kind of like, I'm just going to put this out there because it's going to hold me accountable?
Great question. So I had a friend, his name is Ian, that I met at a CrossFit gym. And he was doing what I am doing now in the tennis niche. He was selling online tennis programs. And initially, for the first year, I didn't have anything to sell. All I did was give away value. Just shared my journey to kind of close the loop. So I had a personal transformation, changed my entire body, broke the addiction to drugs and alcohol. And
over 6 months.
Well, over 6 months, I realized that in order to really do this, I need to be credible. I need to, have some authority. So I got 6 certifications over the next 6 months. I'd go to Chicago for a CrossFit L1. I'd go to another part of Chicago for an RKC. I'd get my I got a CFL1, an RKC, as I mentioned. I've got a NASM certification. I went to California to get neuro-linguistic programming and NLP certification so I could help people with, the cognitive dissonance and what they're going on in their mind.
How did you pay for all of this? You're living with your mom when you're walking up the stairs. That's like a sobering moment. You literally quit cold turkey, all of it.
Yep.
And within a couple of days, you start lifting weights.
Within a couple of days, I start stringing together exercises, body weight exercises, right? So it's just high intensity interval training exercises like dumbbells and kettlebells and whatever my mom had in the basement is what I used to get fit during that period of time.
And was this the first physical activity you did since you played basketball in high school?
I would, in between those drug binges, those nights, I would go to the YMCA and I would do some chest.
Okay.
I would take some bro supplements. I would take the creatine. I would take the pre-workouts and stuff. Yeah, I was never consistent. So never more than a couple of days on, a week off, a couple of days on, a week off.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. And then how did you afford to do this 6 month stretch where you're getting all these certifications, you're traveling around? Because you're with your daughters about to be on the way. Yep. You're in your mother's house.
At this point, I think my daughter was already born. She was young, super, super young. I remember as I'm making videos downstairs, she's in there's these little like bounce around things where they're just kind of like, they can move. It's like this circle thing that they can just kind of like weave in. So I remember that. But my mom was helping me with, different certifications and a little bit of travel that I did.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. And so I'm documenting this whole thing. So if you go way back into my social media, you'll see all of it documented. Every single
Twitter,
thing.
YouTube, and then IG as well.
IG.
Because IG was micro at the time.
I was early.
Oh, yeah.
I was early. And so I grew really, really fast. I went from 0 to millions of followers, what seemed like overnight.
Okay.
And so for 12 months.
Just because you're so honest and raw about the whole thing.
The whole thing. Yeah. I talk about my addiction. I talk about, how I overcame it, the things that I did. Everything, open book.
Yes.
And so people latched on, right? Very relatable. Oh gosh, I'm going through this, right? And they see me as a beacon of hope. And so now I get fit. I go through all of these certifications. I'm documenting the whole thing. And then I create an ebook called Fast Start Fat Loss. I was literally the first person on Instagram to get into ebooks and sell ebooks through Instagram. Initially, I didn't sell anything. I just built an email list of 150,000 people. And I gave away Fast Start Fat Loss, which was like a 50-page ebook, and got tons of people shredded.
That you created.
I created the ebook.
You didn't outsource it. You did it all yourself.
No, at that time, it was me, and I had a developer in the Philippines.
Okay.
Who would help me. I was writing all my emails. I was doing all my editing. Every video at that point, right? I would set up the camera. I would do all the editing, all the sounds, Sennheiser mic. And at that time, right, we didn't have the same editing technology that we do, right? So you're lining up the sound, the audio. You're lining up the video. It was just cumbersome.
Yeah.
So I'm doing all of this. from my mom's basement. I'm doing all of this. And I just stayed consistent. I was posting. And then 12 months later, I've got this email list. Mind you, I didn't ask for money not one time. I launched a product called 6-Pack Finishers. Open it up to 100 people. It's $100, 100 people. It was through Kajabi. It was that online platform. I built this out. No sales first day, no sales the second day, no sales the third day. All of a sudden, the fourth day, we get a couple sales. And I remember running in, talking to Amanda, we're going to do this. We can do this. She's pregnant at the time with my son. We are going to do this, right? Yeah, right, Michael. Yeah, right. A couple of days later, more sales come in. So I ended up selling all 100 spots in the week that it was open.
I was sorry to stop you, but I'm just curious, where was the disbelief from? Did you have a good relationship with her, or was it a little funny? I don't think
we really understood that you could make money online yet, right? It was
she didn't have a disbelief in you. It was just the circumstances.
Just the circumstances. Like, you can actually make money online, right? Like, it was just kind of like this foreign thing. My mom had like no clue. She's like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, well, my friend...
But they're happy. You're sober. You're doing well. So they're pumped. She's supportive. Was she working?
No.
Okay.
She's been stay at home ever since.
Okay.
So
your mom's kind of taking care of you through the process because
my mom is helping me through the process.
You're not making any money while you're beginning all of this.
No. Right. I'm not making any money.
Your mom sounds like she's an amazing mother.
In that period of time, she was my savior. Yeah, absolutely. She's my savior. I mean, her and the birth of my daughter arguably saved my life. Yeah.
Sounds like one of the best things ever.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like, you're going through this, and I have this personal transformation. I didn't know or even think or fathom that this is where I would be today, right? I'm having an experience, right? I'm transforming my body, and I develop discipline through the vehicle of fitness, right? And then it's like you have this amazing experience, you change yourself, you get disciplined, and then that spills over into other areas of your life. So now I've got millions of followers, but I've got 500 people in Fitscript, specifically men, 35 to 60 years old. And a lot of them come in and in similar positions, maybe not as bad, but some definitely, right? As bad or worse. And I always tell them, I'm like, you don't realize fitness was the vehicle for me. It can be a vehicle for you. I didn't know when I was getting fit and I was going through it that my life and opportunities, and I'd be sitting across the table from you and like have access and opportunity. It was just me getting fit. It was just taking care of myself. And so people always ask me, like, how'd you find purpose? Like, I can't find purpose. I'm like, well, purpose is not on your couch watching Netflix. It's not on your couch on Sunday binge watching football. Purpose actually happens through experience. It happens through actually taking action.
Yeah, Robert always says a Musashi, famous samurai from however long ago, a quote, the way is in the training.
Absolutely. I always tell my guys too, right? You're not going to think your way into good action. You're going to act your way into good thinking.
Gosh, I love that.
Right?
I don't know that I've ever heard that. That's a banger.
You have to act. Right? You have to take action, and it's a series of actions. And so these guys come in, right? They're broken. They've got bad habits, poor sleep, stresses out, low T. So their mood is shot. Their energy is shot. Right? And I put myself there because I was there. And it's like, well, what did I need at the time? Well, number one, I needed somebody to believe in me when I didn't believe in myself. So a lot of it is like these men just need someone like in their corner that can pull the best version of themselves out.
And so how, and what did you, because it sounds like, so you're the mother of your children. Yep. Did you get married?
We're technically not married.
Right. Well,
we've talked about it. We're just, I don't know. It doesn't,
at this point, you don't need to, I don't know that it's
the kids are like, you guys gotta get married. We want to, but at this point, we're kind of just like, man, like we're married. Like,
but she believed in you. Your mother believed in you. They were at least supportive in the most basic of levels.
Yeah.
But who was in your corner? Was it just you? Was it a higher power? Did you get religious perspective?
Really good question. I think
radical self-responsibility. Like there's nobody who's going to do this. That's a very masculine thing. The burden, one of the challenges I believe is like in a lot of ways, women are born with inherent value. And one of their challenges is to not squander that value through poor decisions.
Sure.
That's as hard as being a male who has the burden of becoming of value.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. I didn't have anyone in my corner. Certainly Amanda was supportive, right? Like I got to give her tons of credit, right? She's taking care of the kids. She's taking care of the house so that I can focus and do the things that I did, that I'm doing today. So, and I'll say this really quickly. I don't know if there's many women watching this who are mothers who, you know, think that they've got to go do something because they're not valuable enough because they just, you know, watched the kids or took care of the kids.
This is the hardest thing ever.
It is unbelievably hard. And you need to be able to pull a lot of self-worth out of that because that's not a man's job. That's hard. Women, they're just so good at it.
The feminist revolution has been really bad for the divine masculine feminine dance. And I think that also the challenges created in that with the advent of birth control, some of the promiscuity that could happen in a way where it would never be able to happen in the past, all of known history, the repercussions for having sexual intercourse with a man who's not going to be there to provide for you. That's a lot more risk than it is when you have chemical or hormonal birth control. The debasement of the currency, the increase in the tax base. I think that there's been an attack on masculinity. I feel like the attack vector in some ways has been through the women at men. I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole in itself, but I do think
we could talk.
I think it's messed up the heads. Like there's a lot of women that believe today, and this is just my humble opinion as a dude who's just trying to figure out how to live a quality existence, not be stole from, lied to, or poor, right? Yeah. I'm just a dude, but I think there's a lot of women that, like you said, they don't value or don't think that what they're doing as being a mother and a wife is enough.
I agree with that.
I look at my wife and I'm very blessed to have made it through my personal journey and have met my wife. We have a beautiful relationship, a beautiful daughter. She's pregnant and so my mother, she ended up committing suicide. She had a doctorate degree in sociology, she taught classes in gender studies. So when I was a teenager, I was listening to all this conversation, self-proclaimed feminist, ironically depended upon men her entire life. Yeah. And so I am in a position where my wife and I have a very traditional male-female relationship. I would say that, in the traditional sense and just basically how it's worked for most of all of known history. And I look at her all the time. I tell her all the time, like, my whole existence is for you. You and my children are my most important thing.
Yep.
And all I want to do is just make sure you have the resources and the space to do what I think is literally the hardest job in the world.
Yes, I agree with you.
You're making more humans. And I need you to be entirely 100% focused on that because that is, I can't do that.
And there's nothing wrong with that, although they'll lead you to believe that something is wrong with that. Right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's such an important role, maybe the most important role.
Well, men and women are two halves of a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
We wouldn't be here without each other.
And if you go back 1,000 years, I always like to go back 1,000 years. Like you go back 1,000 years, it's like, how did they eat? Well, if a squirrel ran by and they were hungry, they chased after the squirrel until they caught it, a tiger, whatever, right? Like we were the men out hunting with the spears. The women are the caregivers, right? They're picking, they're gathering, they're making sure the teepee is set up, right? They're making sure that the kids are good, fed, right? The guy's out hunting. Well, we're not hunting tigers anymore, but we are still hunting, right? That's still in my opinion, our God-given role is to protect our family and it's to hunt for our family.
Yeah, go and contend with the world. Like there's been obviously I'm a person, a human, and so is my wife. We've had a couple arguments, and it was just like, look, like I can't fight with you because like it's hard enough to contend with the world, and she totally gets it, and she's really good about making sure, like, okay, I want to provide a safe place and protect, provide you comfort and love so that you can go out and contend with the world.
Yep. And the better, happier, more worthy she is, the better the kids are, the better Papa Bear is, right? Like we can go out in one of two ways. We can go out with the tension and the stress from the household, or we can go out with positivity and love and abundance from the household.
Totally.
Right? What makes a better man? So you know, like just kind of tying the loop, like it's just a really, really important role. And I think it's shunned upon, and it shouldn't be.
I agree with that.
It really shouldn't be.
So you have support from your mother.
Have support from my
your
mother.
Wife.
Yep.
And then the burden to become something of value is intuitive. Sounds like your dad was kind of alpha.
Dad was alpha, but he was never around. Never around. He was either working or gambling.
But so you knew you needed to go out there and be a fucking man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So you were in your own corner, basically.
I was in my own corner.
You had the support of a good woman and your mother.
Yeah. And once you get rolling, right? Once you establish a few wins, right? The momentum kicks in. You start getting high off of that success.
Totally.
Right? So now I launch six-pack finishers. We sell out. I do $10,000 in a week.
You're 33 or so.
I'm 31. Now $10,000 in a week. I made really, really good money as an entrepreneur. And I also made good money in the bar business, right? I was managing 4 nightclubs. I was doing awesome. So even though $10,000 a week wasn't a tremendous amount of money, it was a lot of money because I saw a path of which I could make money online, and I didn't have to be like in a store or in a bar, right? I was like, oh shit, okay, cool.
High leverage.
Way
wider reach. The whole world.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And so now, like, I'm just like, right, as an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur mindset, right, I'm just like, okay, wow, this really opens up. So three months later, so I do that, and I get everybody in there amazing results. I mean, shredded, strong, lean, change their eating habits. Like what I do is I simplify this entire thing for people, right? I just break it down in the most simplest forms. Like there's a lot of gurus out there, right? It's like count calories in, calories out, weigh your food, different workouts. And it just becomes so complex, right? Like, sure, if we're just doing this, fine. But we've got lives to live and kids to take care of and bills to pay. Like there's a lot of shit going on. So how do you simplify it to get these guys wins and just stack them so that they compound? Move the needle. And pretty soon, right, it becomes a lifestyle. So I changed these 100 people. I changed their lives. I get testimonials. Now I'm posting the testimonials all over social media.
Were you doing blood work, or was it just just basically, don't eat all this garbage?
It was all based around, height, weight, body type. I would look at them. I would get their pictures, right? I would communicate with them through a group coaching setting.
Yeah, no cakes, no beers, eat chicken, make sure you got the sweet potatoes.
So I call it the 90-10 rule.
Okay.
All right. 90-10 rule says 90% of the time, you're good, right? Eat whole real foods, hydration, right? Move. You don't have to go to work out for 60, 90 minutes if you don't want to. A walk. 20-minute walk after each meal goes a long way. And a walk for some people is a lot. So where are you right now? I don't walk. I'm sedentary. I got a desk job. I do no movement. Okay, cool. Well, then let's just get that guy to move. I don't need him to grab dumbbells yet. I don't need him to go to the gym for 60 minutes. What I need to do is I need to meet him right where he's at, and I need to help him take the next best step. Right? So let's get walking. Right? Walking turns into running. Running turns into dumbbells. Dumbbells turns into a gym membership. And pretty soon, right? He's the guy looking in the mirror and he's like happy, healthy, becomes the superhero for his family again. And now, right, that guy, he never turns back, right? He is laser dialed in because he feels so good. He's getting the recognition from his wife again. His kids look up to him.
That makes sense. Yeah. And so at this point in your journey, were you doing blood work? You weren't doing
no
peptides,
blood work,
no testosterone,
no blood work, no testosterone, no none of that.
Just no garbage food and just putting in the
basics.
Right.
So 3 months later, I launched an ebook, a program called Hit Max. So these were all the exercises that I was stringing together in my mom's basement and in the apartment that I had just shortly after that. Burpees and renegade rows, anything but your body weight and dumbbells only, nothing else. And I launched that 3 months after six-pack finishers. In 18 months, I sold 250,000 copies.
Wow.
$30 ebook. I'm the first person on Instagram with an ebook. Then everybody else follows me. I moved from the ebook to custom meal plans. So now I go from the training component. What's the natural progression? Nutrition. Well, we do customized macros and meal plans, all of your recipes, break it all down for you based on you and where you are at, body type, height, weight, and goals. over the course of the next few months, I get up to 12 nutritionists. So I got 12 nutritionists. I've got this amazing ebook HitMax brand being built, and we're doing custom meal plans for people literally all over the world. We do 100,000 that year.
Wow.
Now I'm on Instagram, no advertising. This is all just pure organic growth.
Incredible.
After that, right, it goes into what's the next. So you've got training, you've got nutrition. What's the next thing? Supplements. So then I get into the supplement space. I created a supplement business.
And you're just going down these rabbit holes because you're doing the research, you're watching YouTube, you're scouring the internet, you're learning this stuff, what works for you, and then you're teaching it to your
I have been
customers.
eat, breathing, and sleeping this for 12 years.
Yeah.
It's all I think about. It's all I do. And I walk the walk.
Oh, that's very evidently clear.
I am the guy that's telling you to prioritize your sleep. I'm also the guy who's prioritizing his sleep. I'm the guy who's telling you to eat whole real foods from as close to nature as possible. I'm that guy, right? I'm the guy that I'm wearing Riker clothing.
You know, microplastics in your balls.
I threw out $5,000 worth of Nike gear.
Gosh, I did. I threw away a bunch of stuff over the last couple of years. All this nice Patagonia jackets and all this polyester stuff. And yeah, no, it's
sauna cold plunge every other day with my kids. You know, so I live it. I live it. And now, you know, we'll talk about the biomarkers because I think that there's a way to do it now that's far superior than it needs to be the holy grail and the standard. But to just kind of close the loop. So then I get into supplements. I start selling Detox Organics, which is a chocolate superfood powder, grow that business. And so now I've got kind of this conglomerate of businesses, nutrition, training, supplementation. And
you're in Wisconsin at the time?
No. So I burned the boats. So just shortly after 33, 34, I burned the boats and I moved to Arizona. So I go to Arizona. I went to Scottsdale for 2 certifications to learn under James Fitzgerald. He is an amazing, we'll call it health authority in the health space. So I go there for 1 certification. I'm in Scottsdale. It's an amazing place. I'm like, cool, we got to go. I go there for 1 more and I never go back. I send my girl back. I hire a bunch of movers and I'm like, hey, I'm not coming back. I'm staying here. Let's move to Scottsdale. So I'm in Scottsdale at this time when HitMax blows up, right? I basically, after that, I'm moving to Scottsdale. That's where I had the nutritionist. That's where I developed the supplement company.
Have you ever wanted to start a business in the Bitcoin space? If so, then the Wolf Startup Accelerator could be for you. Wolf is the first startup accelerator dedicated exclusively to businesses developing in the Bitcoin Lightning Network. 4 times each year, Wolf brings teams from around the world to New York City to work with like-minded entrepreneurs, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with Bitcoin and Lightning. The program is designed to help early-stage companies achieve product-market fit, develop their brand, secure early-stage funding, and grow businesses that fuel the global adoption of Bitcoin. Go to wolfnyc.com to learn more or apply today. Again, that's Wolf, WOLF, NYC.com. Bitcoin custody is evolving. Both self-custody and single third-party custody come with significant risk and trade-offs. Onramp is pioneering a new standard, multi-institution custody, which eliminates single points of failure, adding fault tolerance and redundancy to your setup. Onramp secures your Bitcoin in a segregated cold storage multi-key vault guarded by 3 independent institutional-grade custodians, none of which have unilateral control over your keys. Your funds are fully auditable on-chain, cannot be rehypothecated, and can only move or be withdrawn at your explicit direction. Multi-institution custody removes the technical, mental, and physical burdens of private key management, providing unparalleled peace of mind for you and your loved ones. Bitcoin is money, and as the price continues to appreciate, OnRamp helps you seamlessly tap into financial services like trading, inheritance, insurance, loans, IRAs, and more, all without compromising on security or accessibility. Schedule a consultation with the OnRamp team to learn more at onrampbitcoin.com/breedlove. Again, that's onrampbitcoin.com/breedlove.
What were your next steps? So you started getting into supplements.
Yep.
You're obviously now at this point, you're probably doing blood work.
I'm not doing blood work yet. Blood work is only 2 years ago.
Really?
Blood work is still only 2 years ago. Yep. So I'm not doing blood work. I'm in what I think is great shape. I'm still sharing on social media, but at this time, right, I was starting to get burnt out because all I was talking about, all anybody really wanted to know about was fat loss. How do I lose 20 pounds in a day?
And were you as shredded as you are today?
There were periods of time that I was as shredded, but now I live the shredded.
And why? Was it just not sustainable to
Not
grind that
sustainable
hard?
at the time. I couldn't figure out how to stay lean without having no energy and being fatigued. I just could not figure it out. I cut down for photo shoots. I had some amazing photo shoots with some of the top photographers in the fitness space, but I couldn't figure out how to live like I am now and have energy.
Okay. And what was and why were you hitting points where you were running out of energy? Because I've never lifted a weight in my life.
Yeah.
I've been very active and fortunate to be healthy and not have any health problems. Yeah, so I got a whole lot to learn. I'm actually excited to do some blood work and work with you. Like, enthralled, honestly. So
we will have you, I like to say this, we'll have you walking on water and glowing in the fucking dark.
I'm ready, man.
Orange.
I'm ready. Bright orange future.
Yeah, what we do, I mean, sleep optimization, metabolism, hormones, gut health, I mean, everything, right? But at the time, right, I would cut down for these photo shoots and restrictive eating, endless amounts of cardio, sauna, right? Leading up to the photo shoot, rice cakes and peanut butter for like the last week, and just fatigued, mood, shit, tanked. Whereas now with some of the modalities and tools that we have brought in, labs, more precision, peptides, hormone replacement therapy, right? All of the things, I am feeling the best I've ever felt. I'm 43, have more energy than I've ever had. Cognitively, I'm more focused. I'm more present. I'm more conscious, and I'm shredded.
And why didn't you do TRT or HGH or any other steroids at the time?
At the time, I dabbled.
Okay.
It wasn't managed. And so, you're kind of like, am I doing it right? Am I, it's just fuzzy, right? Now, right, it's labs. We have hormone doctors on staff. Like, it's managed, right? It's like, here's your labs. Here's what you should start taking, right? And you're managing that to get to a place where your hormone or your testosterone is optimal, right? We don't want to abuse it. We want optimized testosterone. We want optimized biomarker.
Well, at this point in your life, you were very familiar with what it's like to abuse things. Do you think that was part of why you were adverse to messing around with that stuff? Because I'm a little fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Like
that I didn't?
Yeah.
There were periods of time where I did. But never long enough and never managed the way that it's managed now.
And you just didn't want to burn yourself out. You got a family, you didn't want to fuck yourself up, or you needed to know what you were doing and you didn't know enough.
I was a little unsure.
That makes sense.
Right? I was unsure, because when you're not getting it from somebody who does it professionally, right? You're getting, who are you getting it from? Right? There's a ton of different kinds, right? Do I take this? Should I take that? And you don't know.
That's why I've always avoided it all. Like, I've been privy to the idea that it's important to get your testosterone checked, but it's just like, it's such a mess. There's so many options.
Even the clinics, like the so-called clinics, are just running people through. Like, you go in, you all get the same dose. They put you on anastrozole, which I don't take I don't take the anti-estrogen. I don't take it. People come to me like, yeah, I'm taking this. I'm like, why are you taking that? Well, it's just because they told me to take it. Well, are they managing your estrogen? Are they managing the rest of your hormones? You literally go in, you're in there, you give your blood, you see them maybe once every 6 months, maybe once a year, right? And it's just like, here you go, here you go, here you go. There's no real management of it. So for me, right, it's like, how do we optimize not just your testosterone, your free testosterone, your estrogen, all of it? All of it.
So you're in Arizona. what happens next? Because I'm really excited to get to what you're doing now with Fitscript and realpeptides.com.
Yep. .co.
.co.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's right.
Yes.
We need to get the .com. We're working on it.
Probably somebody owns it. They want 100 grand for it or something ridiculous.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Same thing with this Fitscript. It's fitscript.me. And I'm close to, well, I shouldn't say I'm close, but I want the fitscript.com.
Does that matter?
It doesn't really matter. No. Yeah. But for me,
I think it's Joe Rogan. Someone owns joerogan.com. And so he's got joerogan.net, I believe. I'm like pretty certain that could be factually incorrect, but it's something like that. Yeah. And he's like, fuck this guy. I'm not paying him. He wants some ridiculous amount of money. He's like, I'll never do it.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you just convinced me it's like, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't know that it matters. I actually kind of like, the .me, we just fired up or bought the domain whimmedia.io. Robert's got robertbreedlove.io.
Okay.
I kind of like the .com thing. Just feels a little
old.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
It feels old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels old.
Yeah. And save the money, buy Bitcoin.
Hey.
If you measure, my life changes, I still have epiphany moments to this day. Like I got some firearms, some Cali legal firearms that I'm selling. I got one that's really nice. And I'm just like thinking about it the other day. I'm like, should I sell this thing or not? And I'm like, well, if I measure it in Bitcoin terms, what the fuck am I doing with this thing?
Oh, dude, but guns, man, I could never. I've got a handful of guns that I absolutely love.
Yeah, I'm swapping out some of the neutered California versions for all the nice. It's Florida. I get whatever I want.
Get whatever you want.
Dude, I've been in the gun store a handful of times over there. Dude, drilling these guys would ask them a million fucking questions.
It's a beautiful thing here.
I love it. Yeah. All right, so let's go. I want to hear more. How did you? So
I'm in Arizona.
What happens next?
I'm in Arizona. My son's just after I think my son was 1, daughter is like 3.
Did you buy a house in Arizona?
Didn't buy a house. I rented all. I just rented. Rented. I actually we actually bought our first house here in Florida, and it was just actually a mistake. So I'm renting. I'm not interested in buying. I don't. Do you, right? I am just for me, it's just like rent, right? You have a problem, you call the landlord, they come and fix it.
I did it this morning.
I don't want to deal with I don't want to deal with the lawn. I don't want to deal with the drying machine. I don't want to deal with any of the appliances. I don't want to deal with the fucking roof. I don't want to deal with any of it. Any of it.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, just buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. Sorry, so I derailed you, but I'm fascinated. I got a million questions. So you're in Arizona.
Yes.
In a rental.
I'm in Arizona, I'm in a rental, and I'm still sharing my story, right? I'm still sharing, I'm going to, juice places, right? Still living the lifestyle, although not as dialed as I am now, but dialed. And, I've got the supplement company. The supplement company starts to really take off.
What year was this?
This was 2000, I launched Detox Organics just before I wrote the Sweet Potato Diet. So 2016, 2017 is when I launched Detox Organics, which is a chocolate superfoods powder. And that thing starts to take off. Meanwhile, I'm still producing a lot of content. I start to get burnt out on the content side, right? Because I'm talking about fat loss. If I don't talk about fat loss, the engagement sucks.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as I'm like, 13 ways to lose 27 pounds in 4 weeks, people are like, yes, right? Give me more of that. But it became so redundant. Right. So it's just like same material. You just change the wrapping paper, new hook, right? New title, but it's really the same shit. And at the end of the day, and this is why I love what I do now with the labs. At the end of the day, you know how to lose weight, right? Doesn't everybody know that they need to eat less and move more?
Well, I mean, some people are eating stuff that they think is healthy for them. Like you could put fat-free on a 1 pound bag of sugar. And so I think a lot of people are really confused. I remember my father used to use, whatever it was, some margarine, which is just canola oil, eating sweet stuff, pounding Mountain Dews. This guy never did a drug in his entire life. He's drank alcohol 3 times. He threw up twice. He's still eating crappy food, 15, 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight, fast food, high fructose corn syrup, seed oils. So I think a lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I look at the world, I see a lot of people that are becoming so discouraged because they're going to the supermarket, they're doing what their doctors are telling them to do, and things just aren't working.
I agree with that. But at what point, right, do you realize that it's not working, and do you stop trusting, right?
Well, that's
Big
where I
food,
find I'm
big
insensitive
pharma.
at times, where I'm like, wait a second, if I'm just a farmer, if I can figure out that you're being lied to, why can't everybody else?
I mean,
But I have to be sensitive to the fact that like people are heavily indoctrinated. I mean, I quite literally at this point in my life, I call public school government indoctrination camps.
it absolutely is that. It absolutely is that. I mean, at some level, you got to take responsibility for yourself, though, right? Like if you really, 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 really wanted to lose weight, and we can talk about how I anchor these men in, right? Because the bigger the reason, the bigger the result. If you are like, hey, I just want to get a set of six-pack abs.
Bigger the reason, bigger the result.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah, it's powerful.
Anchor it to your daughter. Don't do it for you. Do it for your daughter. Your daughter is watching you. Your son is watching you every single day. You are showing your kids what's possible every single day. Are you going to show them what's possible, or are you going to wait for somebody else to show them what's possible?
Well put.
Right? The guy who ran the 4-minute mile, it was unheard of. And then the record is broken. And now, right? Everybody. Same thing with your kids. You are that person for your kids. So think about how you're showing up every single day for your kids. You know, guys, dads, the men that are watching, I think we could all say, I would take a bullet for my kid, right? Would you take a bullet for your daughter?
And a
Right?
heartbeat.
Push her out, take the train, get hit by the train, move in front of the bullet, right? You would do anything.
Without hesitation.
Right? And for the people that are watching, for the men that are watching, right? Would you do anything for your kid? They're saying yes. You're saying yes. But you won't get healthy for them.
Yeah, what is that? Why? Why is that?
You won't get healthy for them?
Yeah, it's that because we're all kind of struggling in our own ways. And it's,
It's because we lack consciousness. We lack consciousness, and we don't understand the trajectory that we are on. I get on sales calls, although I'm not on them as much anymore. Rarely. I've got a sales team of health advisors. We're all on a trajectory. I used to look these guys in the eyes like, you're on a trajectory. I put my arm up. You're on a trajectory, man. 5 years from now, if you don't change the habits, right? Your daily habits, what is that trajectory?
Yeah,
Where
not
are you
not taking action is an action in itself.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the quote is, one of my favorite quotes, I can't remember who said it, is the most important decision of your day is what you put on your fork.
Yeah, I agree with that. And what you think too, though, wouldn't it start with what you think? What you think is gonna have a vibration, it's gonna have a feeling associated. What you
Frequencies are
think is
huge,
gonna
yeah.
create a feeling. How you feel is gonna depict how you act. And
Yeah,
it's
thoughts
like,
lead into actions, right? Belief is huge. Yes.
Yeah.
Can't argue that. But it's a lack of consciousness, right? You're so busy, you're leaning, it's convenient. Let me grab this, let me grab that.
okay. Oh, all right. So you're in Arizona.
I'm in Arizona. I'm getting tired of producing content. I've got a business that is crushing it. Detox Organics is crushing it. We go from selling, hundreds of units to thousands of units. I start ordering 100,000 at a time. I got a big warehouse. I got 33 employees.
You're investing everything back into the business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're not buying stocks and apartment buildings.
No. I started buying stocks. And then became addicted to watching that, and then had to get out of that. But that's
I didn't mean to derail you. But
no, you're good, because you got me. You caught me for a second because I actually got distracted. Stocks actually distracted me.
Oh, interesting.
But this business was thriving. It was growing. I was getting sick of producing content, and so I just kind of like took a break on the social media platforms. That's probably if I had a regret. I was burnt out. I felt like I needed the break, but I lost a lot of traction on social media. And, I was getting thousands of likes, thousands of views, right? I wrote a best-selling book called The Sweet Potato Diet. I went on tour. I was in New York. 500 people came and signed books for 3 hours. I did a live workout in the Santa Monica Mall. 200 people flew in from all over to work out with me. I was on a stage. I came down the elevator. It was epic. It was amazing. And then I stopped producing content. I stopped. For whatever reason, I just got burnt out. I stopped, and then I just went focused and built that business. And so then I just was focused on that business. I built that business. And
This is 2015, 16, 17 or so?
2016, yeah. 2020 was our best year. We sold a ton, hundreds of thousands of units in 2020.
COVID helped your business? Because everybody's at home.
Yeah, COVID helped my business. And then in 2021, so then I bring in a team and I remove myself as the CEO. I bring in a team, a CEO, CFO, like the whole team. At that point, right, we could afford that. And I spend the next, year with my kids in the pool, just throwing them around in the pool. I'm in the, Scottsdale, beautiful house. Just awesome, amazing. And start to ask some questions. I wasn't getting financial statements. I wasn't getting updated financials. And so just red flag. And then I finally I need them. And he kept blaming on the accountant, the person I was working with me, blaming on the accountant. So I went behind his back and I asked the accountant and they didn't hear from Justin. So then I was like, oh shit, okay, something's wrong. So I intervene and I realized that we have millions of dollars in debt. So we go from millions of dollars in sales to millions of dollars in debt. Can't remember exactly how much money I had to my name, but the business had like 30 days of life left.
What?
Yeah. Took my eyes, my fault, right? Like I removed myself. I'm entrusting the people. And because it was churning, $800, $900, $1 million a month for a good bit of time, right? Like, okay, cool, right? It can only go up. And so I come back in, I go from 33 employees down to 4, remove everybody. The warehouse, everything is gone, right? Just condense. I start shipping Detox Organics out of my house with Amanda. And I end up paying all the debt back, salvaging the company, and end up exiting a couple years later.
You're a fucking savage, dude.
It was.
Oh
dude,
my!
It was stress. I was not sleeping. Because I had 30 creditors. Right? Knock knock. When are we? Right? It's like you tell them for months and months and months. It's coming. At some point, where it's like you're full of shit.
And why didn't you just let it blow up and file bankruptcy?
I don't know. That's a really good question. It may have been
that's
easier.
the path of least resistance.
Yeah,
you probably wouldn't feel good about it.
I had done that already.
Yeah.
Right. So there was something where it was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again. So I fucking fought. I fought. And fought. And then 2 years later, I ended up selling the business.
So you sold the business.
Yep.
And
sold the business.
Did you start Fitscript next?
No. I started non-fungible mushrooms next, which is another company that I have. I sell medicinal mushroom blends. But so I'm still in Arizona. So we're shipping out of our house. So I moved my family from Arizona to Florida to be back close to my family. It was up in Orlando, the DeLand area. Literally, she bought a house right by my mom and my brother. We're still shipping. So we move all the Detox Organics. We're still shipping out of that house. And then it was like a year later, we end up exiting that business. And as I'm exiting that business, I start non-fungible mushrooms.
Like Lion's Mane, Reishi.
Yeah. We've got some amazing blends. And so the reason why it's non-fungible mushrooms is because I was deep into NFTs and I was actually going to launch it in
2021 or so.
Yeah, I was going to launch it on the blockchain and do like this really cool sort of learning experience on the blockchain, which would teach you about the mushrooms that we had in our blend.
One of my highest health priorities is keeping my brain in top shape. To take care of my brain power, I do many things, such as striving to read, write, exercise, and meditate daily. One of the latest tools in my brain power toolkit is MindLab Pro. MindLab Pro is a nootropic supplement that is scientifically proven to enhance your brain power. When I take MindLab Pro, my mind feels like it has a better grip on the world, my thinking is more lucid, and the articulation of my speech is radically improved. MindLab Pro has been tested in rigorous, double-blind, placebo-controlled human trials and has been proven to enhance brain power for users in every age group. MindLab Pro is an advanced formulation of 11 nootropic ingredients and is backed by research from over 1,400 human trials conducted over the past 32 years. So if you're looking to enhance your brain power, MindLab Pro is an excellent solution. Go to mindlabpro.com/breedlove to start enhancing your brain power today. Again, that's mindlabpro.com/breedlove. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably get it. You get that Bitcoin upends everything that state-sponsored schools teach us about money. For those who get the importance of Bitcoin, it is important that we have a smart way to buy and hold Bitcoin. My friends at Coinbits, the oldest Bitcoin-only exchange in the United States, have pioneered the concept of roundups, which converts your spare change into Bitcoin. Simply connect your credit or debit cards, and your usual purchases are rounded up to the nearest dollar, letting you stack sats on every purchase without even thinking about it. Coinbits also provides a terrific self-custody experience. Connect a hardware wallet for automatic withdrawals into cold storage to minimize your risk and stay sovereign over your Bitcoin. My favorite Coinbits feature is Coinbits Plus, which gives you the best exchange rate on Bitcoin. It even gives you real-time feedback on how well you are doing on your savings plan. With Coinbits Plus, power users can save more money to buy even more Bitcoin. All that, plus peer-to-peer cash and Bitcoin payments, target orders, price alerts, and more means Coinbits can help you do almost anything you need to do with Bitcoin. So go to coinbits.app/breedlove to sign up today. Again, that is Coinbits, BITS.app/breedlove.
And so when did you get into cryptos? Is that basically around this time, or was that, or
I got
did
into
you
crypto
2017?
So
or?
I came in Bitcoin only in 2021.
Because you saw Breedlove's podcast.
I saw Breedlove's podcast
On Tom Bilyeu.
And I was just like, oh, this makes a lot of sense.
That was the aha moment for Bitcoin.
That was my first aha moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And you hadn't bought any cryptos before that.
Hadn't bought any cryptos before that.
Okay, so you saw Breedlove on Tom Bilyeu, and you're like, oh, wow.
Makes a ton of sense.
Right.
Yep. And then from there, right, it's the Bitcoin standard.
Yep.
I'm reading Broken Money right now, which is a great book. And then, it just clicked. But I will say, right, the addictive personality kicked in, and I sold on the way up. I shouldn't say I sold. I swapped all of my Bitcoin for Solana. Solana was, was 150, 200, 250 a coin.
And was it just you're like, this is going to 100x and Bitcoin's going to go up slower?
It was the Solana NFTs that started to attract me.
Right. Okay.
So now I'm selling Bitcoin for Solana. I start swapping all the Solana for, there's a good ending. This is a beautiful fucking ending.
Well, the whole thing is amazing.
I got very fucking lucky. So now I'm buying Solana NFTs. Like, buying them and flipping them.
What kind? Just monkeys and fucking
so like the galactic geckos was one. I think that would make
I never got into this stuff, fortunately for me.
I think that was my first project was galactic geckos, and I made a ton of money.
I'll admit, in 2020 I bought some Shiba Inu and a couple, I threw $1,000 at like 5 or 6 shit coins, but I was like, I don't know what this is.
It was Solana and it was NFTs, and I went deep, right? I was in all of the Discords.
Watching YouTube.
Yeah, so I, we still kind of had Detox Organics kind of doing its thing, and then I was, flipping NFTs kind of in conjunction with managing that business. Okay. This was before non-fungible mushrooms, right? So I'm in the NFTs, and so then I'm doing well with the Solana NFTs, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I then sold all of my Solana NFTs and went over to Ethereum NFTs, and there was a project called the Deegan Tunes. Beautiful art. As I share that now, I'm like, it's amazing art. It was so beautiful. So I swap all. I was probably like $250,000, and I move all of it into Deegan Tunes at 0.3 ETH, 0.4. They go crazy. 3-4 floor. I end up unloading all of them.
This is mid 2021.
Mid 2021, like the peak.
Yeah.
And I moved that into Killabears.
What the fuck is Killabears, dude?
So I moved that into Killabears. Killabears, again, I'm at like the beginning, 0.3, 0.4. And then those have a nasty ride all the way up to 8 ETH, the floor. Sell them all. Everybody was like, fuck you, you're leaving.
How did you know to sell them?
Just sell them right on.
How did you know to time it?
I didn't. I was just like, this can't be forever.
Right.
Like okay. I started to come to. I started to come to. I'm like, okay, really, is this really gonna last forever? Like, I just started to have this realization, like, this is kind of stupid.
And zero Bitcoin
at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
So now I And there was a couple other projects. So now I ride these from like less than 1 ETH all the way to 8 ETH. And I had 50 of them.
Uh-huh.
Cash them all out for ETH. And then I'm like, fuck this. Heard some more Sailor. Like, I swapped all of it for Bitcoin. All of it. This is when Bitcoin was like 16K.
Really?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a savage.
Luck. Because there are some people that are still holding those projects, and they you can't find buyers now, right?
Fuck
and it's like, yeah, you know. So it was really, really fun. I got lucky, and yeah, we have become a triple maxi. Well, maybe not a triple maxi, but close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Bitcoin only. But yeah, what a ride, dude. What a ride. I was just like, imagine timing it and then going all the way back into Bitcoin, and not even like, hey, we'll do a third Solana, a third ETH, a third this, like not even like, right, like stretching it across like the top, whatever people think the five
right.
shit coins are. Literally 100% Bitcoin, 100%. Right. Then I'm watching BTC Sessions, who's become a great friend of mine. Ben.
I love Ben.
Ben's in Fitscript right now, absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, his before and after photos are inspiring.
It's insane, right?
Yeah.
And Don, so his production manager, his right hand, is also in. He's gained like 20 pounds in 3 months. He looks amazing.
I just saw his photo the other day too.
Crushing it.
So
I became good friends with them, but I learned I learned the whole cold card because of BTC Sessions, because of his tutorials.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really cool, like how this is so like come back right now. We've become best friends. You know, I wouldn't say best friends, but really good friends. Talk to him regularly. I'm on calls with him. I'm managing all of his peptides and everything that he's doing. But it's just interesting, like how, you know, you go Bitcoin to NFT to Solana to NFTs back to Bitcoin, and now like, you know, you're just becoming part of just an amazing group of humans.
That has been one of the most powerful things for me in my life. Like I used to say, so we were talking when you first got here, I had never met another Bitcoiner online or in person until I went to Pacific Bitcoin in 2023. I had a 100% Bitcoin allocation. I was living in a rental, running around in my, you know, physical world amongst the people I produced cannabis with and that worked for me, talking about Bitcoin nonstop for years. And like, so for me, it's such a trip, like being a part of it all. It's so surreal. Like I used to say that like I had this one-sided friendship with all these people, you know, Robert, and I could go down the list. Like these are my best friends. They don't know I exist. But like I told my wife this at one point, like these are my people.
So
they don't even know I exist, but like, hey, I think you are the culmination of the 5 top people that you spend your life around.
1000%.
Yeah. And so like, for example, when I listen to the Sailor series, I've listened to it a couple of times, you know, kind of a little spiritual woo-woo and metaphysical and in my thinking, you know, I'm like, I listen to this stuff on 1X. I want to feel it. I want to feel the vibration. I'm not trying to just devour the information. Like there's something, in my humble opinion, more going on in this world, right?
Sure.
And so, yeah, it's definitely been a trip for me. I can relate to that.
And as soon as Ben and Don came in and they've gotten such amazing results, I'm like, look, I would love to take care of the Bitcoin community. I'd love to help all of the Bitcoiners get healthy and get on a trajectory where we can see 10 million per Bitcoin and have the health along with the wealth. And it's just been, you know, so now we're like maybe 30 Bitcoiners have come into Fitscript now. And I'll tell you, they're the most amazing people.
I agree with that.
I have never met a Bitcoiner that I didn't like.
Same here.
Not one. David, right?
Yeah.
Who put this together. It's become an amazing friend of mine.
He messages, we message almost every day.
You know, he's doing peptides now, right? He's getting lean. Amazing human.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, there's a lot of them. And the Bitcoiners who come in, I can't be in touch personally with everyone, but I'm in touch with a lot of the Bitcoiners, like personally. You know, for whatever reason.
Did I miss it? Or when did you start Fitscript?
Started Fitscript 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So
and this is right after you started doing blood work?
Yes. So
why did you start doing blood work?
Well, so
you're like 40, 41 at the time.
41, yeah. So I'm trying to think the best way to share this story. So Paul Burgess is my chief functional medicine officer. He's been practicing functional medicine for over 30 years. Has cured the nastiest things. I mean, 52 cancer patients, successful, right? Like a G. 5 years ago, my mom's hair was thinning and falling out. Doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. They kept telling her, you're healthy, you're fine, you're healthy. She's like, doc, I'm not fine, I'm not healthy, right? So she works with Paul. And in 12 months, hair is growing, full, has her energy again.
What changes did she make?
Supplementation, various protocols. I'm not sure if she did a mold and toxicity test and then a very specific detoxification protocol.
Yeah, some binders.
But like changed her life.
Okay.
Right. And so him and I have been in touch since the Hit Max day. So I was on his podcast 12 years ago. And so we just stayed in touch. And he's always been sort of this mentor to me because I don't think there's anybody better than him in this space. I don't think anybody's as good as him. Now, he's not the flamboyant, Gary Breckas and the Brian Johnsons. Like, he's just not out there because he's like, all of that is pop nutrition. That's what he labels it as.
I like that.
All that shit is pop nutrition, right? They don't know anything about you. I don't want to have discussions like that because everything needs to be done based on labs, extensive labs and blood work. That's the only way to do it. That's the real way to do it. So all of this, carnivore diet this and, vegan diet that and this supplement and that supplement, like it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all pop culture.
Interesting. That
and
makes
so
sense.
he's just very, very, like he says it like it is. It's like blood work. Let's let the data make the decisions for us. And so 2 years ago, so he has been practicing for 30 years. Charges, $60,000, $100,000, $150,000 to work with him personally for 12 months. And I said, Paul, most people can't afford that.
Well, and it doesn't scale.
Doesn't scale, right? Most people can't afford that. It doesn't scale. How do we take what you're doing, what I know, like, so I'm on the body composition side. I'm really, really good at helping guys get shredded and strong and muscular fast, right? I've figured that out. He's on the functional medicine side, right? Looking at labs, decoding labs, specific nutrition training. So we're doing this Fitscript, the nutrition training supplementation, based on two things, based on your biomarker data, but then also based on your aesthetic goals. So we're literally prevention, performance, aesthetics across the board. So I come to him and I'm like, listen, we got to figure out how to get this out to more people. And so we do it. We put together Fitscript. And so it's a culmination of his work, my work, put into this package, this total human optimization package called Fitscript. And that was born 2 years ago. It was just me and him out of the gate. I was just offering it to a select few of people so that we could beta test it, make sure that it was solid. Amazing results. I mean, I've got people who would have been diagnosed as diabetic, right? Full-blown diabetes, on medications for their life, A1C off the chart, right? All of a sudden in 6 months, A1Cs come down, diabetes is gone, testosterone from 130 to 290 without TRT. A lot of our guys, we've got some guys that want TRT and some guys that don't. It really just depends on the person, where they're at, their goals, right? I got some guys that are like, hey, like my wife says, no, I don't have any kids yet. Okay, cool. Well, let's find another path. And then I've got other guys that are just like, hey, I've had my kids, I want to go down this path. Okay, cool. But let's look at the data. Let's get an understanding of what is going on. Because the other thing too, right, is if you're just doing testosterone and you're not managing what I call the foundational pillars, right? Sleep, nutrition, exercise, right? Sunlight, stress management, hydration. If you're not managing those things, taking testosterone is like going to the doctor and taking a statin for cortisol. It's a Band-Aid, right? So we want to make sure, and this is what happens over the 12 months that we're working together, we want to make sure that we're helping you develop the lifestyle, right? We're helping you optimize your sleep. We got guys that sleep was in the toilets. They couldn't sleep no matter what, that are sleeping like fucking babies now, right? So we're using Oura rings and we're using other trackers to manage sleep, right? We got guys choosing the right food. So they're plugging all of the holes. And then it's like, okay, cool. Let's bring in some peptide therapy. Let's bring in some TRT. What else you got? Oh gosh, right? There's a lot of different tools. And when you're looking at the data and you let the data make the decisions for you, you have a level of certainty, right? That what you're doing is exactly what you should be doing for you. So there's no more guessing. And we've got guys in now that's like, hey, I only come here. I come to you. I come to your doctors. I come to your functional medicine team. I don't need to watch or listen to the podcast anymore. I don't need to, try the latest and greatest fat burner or greens drink or detox. Like, I don't need to do that anymore. I just come here and you guys have answered all of my questions and give me a level of certainty that I've never had before. And what comes with certainty? Motivation.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. And one of the things I've struggled with is it's like, I'm a very laser-eyed individual. When I get into something, I get like all into it. And I just haven't had the time to like go down that rabbit hole. There's so much energy, information. It's just been a lot. But like, I do know the value of like having the data. I mean, I grew cannabis for 7 years before I started doing tissue samples and soil testing and all of that. Boom, completely changed the game. It was all this guesswork, and I just was kind of like driving blind. And so, yeah, I'm sure there's some parallels there. It's kind of like driving blind. Like, what do you, I barely even take any supplements. I eat really well. I don't do a lot of the dumb things that we obviously all know we shouldn't do.
Sure.
But it's a whole area I have kind of almost felt an aversion to getting involved in because I'm so ill-informed.
Yeah. And it's like vitamin D with K2, DHE. I mean, there's a bazillion supplements.
Yeah.
And everyone out there makes you think that you need every single one of them.
Totally.
Right? This is the one. This is the one. This is the one that's going to take care of all of it. Right? It's like, I don't know. Maybe you need it, but let's not guess. Let's test. Right?
Don't trust, verify.
Don't trust, verify, test, don't guess. And so just to kind of take you back to 2 years ago. So I'm looking good on the outside, but I'm starting to feel tired on the on the inside, right? Like just start to feel tired, start to feel fatigued, right? And stress for sure, right? But I'm looking good on the outside, but I'm not feeling as good as I look on the outside. So I get my labs done and we find the early onset of cardiovascular disease in me.
Really?
Yeah. So one of the pieces of material that I send to a lot of people is my lab review with Paul, where he finds the early onset of cardiovascular disease. So we can see cancer develop, cardiovascular disease, diabetes. Like we could see all of the major, diseases. We call them, Peter Attia calls them the 4 horsemen, right? So you've got cardiovascular disease, heart disease is the number one killer, killing one person every 33 seconds, literally. We can talk about the markers that we test for and why we can see early, why the doctor can't see them early, right? Then you've got cancer, you got metabolic dysfunction, you've got Alzheimer's and dementia, right? So just imagine being able to see a decade sooner that you're trending towards any single one of them. What's the value in that?
It's priceless.
Right? Priceless. Because what happens, right, is these symptoms that we have today, these symptoms are our bodies crying out for help. And so how long are you going to ignore those symptoms? How long are you going to say, oh no, this is just getting older, right? A lot of guys are just like, if this is just getting older, this is just a part of getting older. Well, again, right, that's the matrix. And that's what society wants us to believe, that you're just supposed to get older, right? You're supposed to go into Western medicine, that vicious cycle. You're supposed to be on medications. You're supposed to, graduate into the walker with tennis balls and then the wheelchair. Like that's just what's supposed to happen. That's just getting older.
Gosh, and trying to avoid all of this stuff too is exhausting. It's like, microplastics, aluminum, chemtrails, glyphosates. Like, it's just like, sometimes, my wife and I will be talking and she'll be like, this thing, whatever it is. And I have moments of being frustrated. I'm like, look, just fucking move to Alaska. I'll just build us a fucking log cabin. And we'll just get rid of all the Wi-Fi and we'll just fucking live in a log cabin. I'll go pluck a few elk a few times a year. But that's extreme.
It is.
It is extreme. And so like, I want to have the benefit of living in the modern world and be able to leverage modern technology to do what we have been doing for thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, just better.
Yes. And there's no reason why we can't.
Yeah.
Right? But you're not going to guess your way.
Hey, you can't drive blind.
You're not going to ever guess your way. There's a lot of things that you can do, right?
Yeah, and I've personally, I feel like I've done all of them short of getting my blood work and work with somebody like you.
Yeah.
I sleep on grounding sheets. I eat whole foods, very little carbs.
Do you use the sauna and the cold plunge?
So I did do the sauna for the last 6 years. I just moved into a new place that doesn't have a sauna.
Yeah. So I would say, arguably, if someone's like, what's the number one thing I can do outside of prioritizing your sleep? but getting really good sleep. The sauna is probably at the top of the list. Dry finish sauna probably ranks at the very, very top.
What's the statistic? I've heard like Dr. Rhonda Patrick and, Huberman talk about this. It's like some ridiculously significant drop in all-cause morbidity
It's
by
like
using
50%
It's incredible.
all-cause mortality. It drops the risk of dementia, cardiovascular disease, right? It's going to improve circulation, right? It's gonna help with insulin sensitivity, right? Heart rate variability. Testosterone for the guys that are watching, right? 5 times testosterone increase while you're.
And then there was I saw a study or a YouTube video. This guy did a series of sauna sessions, and the natural human growth hormones went up through the roof.
Yeah, it's great for that. It's great for that.
Yeah. So I living in Humboldt County. I was 5 miles from the coast. You could basically depend on the weather being between 55 to 65 degrees like all year long. So I would wear a hoodie all the time, and I kind of got a little bit tired of it. But I put a barrel sauna in my backyard in the rental that I had for since 2016. So I'm a huge fan of the sauna. I didn't do the cold plunge. I'll admit I even bought like a feed trough from Tractor Supply, parked it in front of my sauna, and did it one time. One time. And that was partially because I'm alone. I don't have the account. Nobody's pushing me to do it. And it's just like, that inner bitch, dude.
Yeah,
that inner bitch. I'm like sitting in the sauna. I'm looking at that thing. And I'm like, fuck that.
Goes back to, right? The bigger the reason, the bigger the result.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you start to really get conscious about these different modalities and you start to attach them to a trajectory that you're on, right? Like what is the sauna actually going to do for me? Well, it's going to reduce the cause of dementia, right? It's going to the risk of dementia. It's going to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, right? So if you think about that, it's like, oh gosh, okay, I should probably make that part of my daily routine. And here's the best part, right? My kids go with me. So I do sauna cold plunge 4 days a week, every other day. I was doing it for every day for a while, but I realized so it's like 11 minutes of cold plunge in a 7-day span is where you get max benefits. Everything after that is diminishing returns. Mm-hmm. Same thing for sauna. So sauna is 19 minutes plus 4 days a week. So I was going every day, and then I realized, the studies and the research say that this is any more than this is just diminishing returns, right? So every other day at 4 o'clock, I take my entire family to the sauna and the cold plunge. Every other day. We go into that sauna. They're doing 20 minutes at 2:05. My son does 38 degrees for 3 minutes in the cold plunge.
Incredible.
My daughter, right? So it becomes a family affair, a family event. We're having deep conversations in the sauna, talking about if they're in school, right? It's like, so how was school? What happened at school? What did you learn? We're having really deep, meaningful conversations in there. And I'll tell you the other thing too. So it's an open concept. And then, you've got parents in there who want to get their kids to go. So there's some motivation there for the other parents. Oh gosh, this is you can actually bring kids here. Okay, cool. And then they're getting all of this recognition because of what they're doing at such a young age. It's building their confidence. It's building their self-worth. They get out and like, yeah, I did 4 minutes today, or I did 5 minutes today. It's like, hell yeah, dude. Right. And that right there, that hardness, right? Like that builds resilience. Are you going to do something harder than 20 minutes in the sauna today, or 3 to 5 minutes in the plunge? Probably not. Probably not going to do something that hard. So you do hard things, right? It builds confidence. It builds resiliency. I mean, there's the way that I look at confidence too, like as a man who's teaching his kids and my son, like, you want to have really, 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 really good confidence, make fucking progress in life. Doesn't matter what the progress is. Grow. You want to be confident? Grow in something. You will be confident.
Yeah. I think about it as in some senses like micro dosing discomfort. And then taking it to the level of control. Like you have to have bitter to have sweet. You have to have pain to have pleasure.
100% agree. And you're going to face discomfort. So choose it.
Yeah.
Right? Chosen discomfort is the path, right? Because then when the rest of it comes, you're like, oh gosh, okay, well, I just did 20 minutes at 2:05 and then I went into the cold plunge at 35 degrees for 4 minutes. Pfft, that's easy. Everything else just seems easier when you're choosing that path.
That's well put.
So there's a very special place called the Farm at Okefenokee. It's a 1,000 acre regenerative farm community about 45 minutes northwest of Jacksonville, Florida. The farm is a completely off-grid community. It has total food, water, and energy independence. Everything on the farm is 100% organic, and it even features wild boar and bear hunting. The farm at Okefenokee is right next to the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge, where you can do camping and canoeing tours. So if you're like me and you're interested in the self-sovereign lifestyle, then you can get your own lot on the farm at Okefenokee if you tell them that I sent you. Once you get a lot, you can build one of 3 custom cabin options. So if you value freedom, self-sovereignty, and living in touch with nature, then join me and my family. We have lot number 21, and we're going to be building a cabin there starting December 2025. To learn more about the farm at Okefenokee, go to okefarm.com and make sure to tell them that I sent you. If you're a Bitcoiner, you need the Orange Pill app. It's where you can connect with other sovereign individuals locally and globally. It's great for when you travel, to meet local Bitcoiners, to go to Bitcoin meetups, and to find local merchants that accept sats. No distractions, no noise, just real Bitcoiners. So download the Orange Pill app today and find your local Bitcoin tribe.
Let's tie this because we've talked a bit about this. Like first time I had a call with you, actually, we had went on a kind of a fun conversation for 30, 45 minutes. I actually pulled over in the parking lot of Walgreens on the way home just to finish talking with you. You know, you're marketing towards Bitcoiners right now, or at least somewhat. There's all these parallels between taking self-responsibility and being a sovereign individual and decentralization, decentralized wealth, decentralized health. Tell me what you got going on there, what your thoughts are on all that.
Yeah, I think we need to take full responsibility and control of our health.
Which you have obviously done.
Absolutely.
And that is something that I find to be very inspirational and actually comforting for me as somebody who's like, all right, I need to start working on this stuff. I don't know where to turn to.
Yep.
And you're somebody who's doing it and then teaching people what you're doing. Yep. And so I admire that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's very, very important. I cannot sell something, offer something if it's not something that I don't do, take, eat, use myself.
That's why I haven't done any like blood work and just had somebody I'm 40 years old. Like when I was a kid, I would, even up until like 5 years ago, I had some like Tom Ford cologne and, I was spraying Axe when I was a kid and, all these things, these hormone disruptors, all the bad stuff, right? And so like I've definitely thought to myself, like, gosh, I need to get my shit together, but like I don't want to get led down the wrong path. There's all sorts of potential issues in this little bit of YouTubing I've done about TRT. It can thicken your blood. It can, ruin your chances of having all this stuff. And it's like I don't know where to turn or who to talk to. And it's
it has to be managed. And to just kind of go back to what you were sharing, right? Decentralized health, decentralized wealth, like. We can all agree, at least I hope, right, that medicine, healthcare is broken. It is not healthcare. It is sick care. You are not getting healthy. Your doctor is not helping you get healthy. He's not.
No,
there's no money in prevention. And here's what I know. So you can't even so we measure 124 markers, 80 pages of data, right? 80 pages thick. You can't even go and ask your doctor for the markers that we test for, because insurance isn't going to pay for them. They're not going to pay for 124. You know why? Because when you go to that depth, it's considered prevention. And they're not interested in prevention. They're interested in reactive sick care. You get your basic 30 markers, you go, and the doctor says, you're good. You're feeling like shit. You're falling apart. You've got no energy. Your sleep is trash, and you're good.
Tired, inflamed, depressed.
They're normal.
Confused.
They're saying you're in the normal range. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Do you know what the normal range is? The normal range continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger and wider and wider and wider. The normal range is taking the average of the populace and saying, here you go. Average is sick. It's not optimized. Your doctor's not helping you get optimized. You go to your doctor if, God forbid, you need some sort of emergency, right? Like, you don't go to your doctor to stay healthy. That's not where you go. I mean, look at your doctor.
Yes.
Look at your doctor, straight up.
I think about this as like, we go, my family and I talk about this. We got a broken bone. We need stitches.
100%.
You got an emergency. Right? You need some antibiotics because you got a staph infection or something. Okay, then that's where we're at. But like, what are we going to the doctor for? I'm not getting real health advice there.
10 minutes. He's looking at, they're flagging you high, low, high, low, high, low. There's no intervention. And what he's really saying is that you're just healthy enough to where he can't diagnose and treat you, right? All of a sudden, the year after you turn 40, you go to the doctor and he's like, I'm sorry, you've got metabolic dysfunction. Doc, last year you said I was healthy. I've been eating healthy ever since. How in 1 year do I get metabolic dysfunction or whatever? Fill in the blank. It's because you're on this spectrum, this scale, and you're healthy, and you're healthy, and you're healthy, and you're healthy. You're even healthy with an A1C that's relatively high. As soon as you cross over the threshold, you become diabetic. It's like just a few percent. You're healthy, you got diabetes. He's telling you you're healthy when truthfully, you're literally on the verge of becoming diabetic.
So wild.
Right? And then here's the pill. One turns into 16, but average 65-year-old man, 16 different medications.
That's the average amount of medication.
American, that's 16.
Wow.
16.
God, it's so broken. Gosh. And like we had a woman, Ariana Thacker, started a company, The Mold Co. They're doing blood work and basically people are suffering from toxic mold. She had an issue where she was having all these problems because she was in an apartment here in Miami that was moldy. She was getting mold, all these health issues from being exposed to toxic mold. She had to go down the route. I kind of think of her almost like a Dr. Rhonda Patrick. Like, she was just dropping all this heat. It was quite incredible. She's super well read. My wife did the whole vegan vegetarian thing for a while. She started to have serious issues right after she was eating eggs. And I'm eating tons of steak and eggs at the time. And she's kind of like, kind of a little bit of a thing around that. She never gave me shit about it, but I knew she kind of had her beliefs that I had mine. She ended up having some kidney issues. She goes to the hospital. I have to take her to the ER room. My daughter's like 6 months old. She's walking, maybe a year old. And they're like, oh, you have a urinary tract infection. No, she had a kidney infection. And she figured it, basically we had to figure it out on our own. Then I remember it was right around her birthday. We go out to dinner and she's like, yeah, I'll take a filet. I'll take a filet mignon. I need to start eating some meat. So that kind of, we went on a whole, she got rid of the kidney stones. She had thyroid issues. They wanted to give her thyroid medication. I think hyperthyroid, I forget, underperforming thyroid. I forget the specifics about it.
Hypo.
Yeah. 6 months later, she goes and get her blood work done again. And the doctor's like, oh my gosh, what did you do? Like, that never happens. She goes, I just changed my diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah.
But right, like, if she didn't fight back, right, most of 9 out of 10 people are going there and they're just like, okay, I'll take that. Okay, I'll take that. Right? That's how you get to 16.
That makes sense.
Right? We just innately trust the guy in the white coat. We don't ask questions. The first question that you should ask anytime your doctor is going to prescribe anything, the very first question, doc, how long do I have to be on that? If he says
really
forever, you run. Forever? Well, then this isn't the cure. This isn't going to help me. I'm not deficient in anything that's in this pill. So how long do I have to take it, doc? Until something else breaks. The real answer is until something else breaks, and then I can sell you something else, another pill.
God, that's so wild.
Right? It's the truth, though. It's the truth. It's the fucking truth.
The world we live in is, there's this broken monetary system creates this dynamic where it's so extractive. And then, so, okay, on that note, so what is the process when somebody gets involved in Fitscript? Yep. You told me that, so you're creating an app.
Yep. We're using a third-party app right now. I'm building our own app that has tons of amazing functionality, right? It'll have integrations for your ring or your smart tracker, your sleep, your mattress, your smart scale. So it'll have all these integrations. It pulls the labs in. So now you've got that, pulls all of our other testing in, because labs is just one piece. So you come in with 124 biomarkers, right? That's the foundational sort of Fitscript, if you will. But there's mold and toxicity tests, there's stool tests, right? There's speed of aging, epigenetics, hormone mapping. There's a lot of things that you can do, but you don't do all of those things before the labs. A lot of people were like, well, I just need the mold and toxicity test. How do you know? You haven't done labs yet. Well, something's not right. Okay, but labs are the holy grail. Labs, extensive labs, as long as you're doing it, the way that we do it, lead you down the path and give you the next best step.
So they go to fitscript.me.
Yeah. They
make an account.
So they go to fitscript.me and they schedule an appointment, a health strategy call.
A Zoom call of some sort.
Because it's not just open to anybody, right? Like, where are you at? What are your goals? Are we aligned? Right? We want to make sure that we're fully aligned, because right now it's super, super high touch, right? It's, white glove. You have a coach, you have a functional medicine team. I'm super, super involved. I do a lot of the coaching as well. I'm very, very involved.
So it seems to me that you're not even willing to scale if it's going to dilute the quality of the service. That seemed very clear in the first conversation that we had.
That is correct. We can't take on 100 people this week. We can't, because of where we are at. We just can't.
Yeah.
We just can't. Too high touch. We're just too involved for, you're with us for 12 months. This isn't a 30-day challenge. This isn't a 75 hard. This isn't a 7-day detox. Like, this is a commitment. And straight up in our advertising, it's like, look, apply now. Click the button below. But if you're not ready to leave the old mediocre you behind, like if you're truly not ready, please, because we can only help a handful of people every single week. So please don't take the spot of someone that actually needs this and is ready to take action.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So it's a quick health strategy. I shouldn't say quick. It's half hour, 45 minutes, walk you through our process, understand a little bit about you. Are you on any medications? What's your sleep like? Just, a great conversation. You're going to walk away from that conversation with tons of value. If you're a good fit, right? Mutually aligned, awesome. We order your labs right on the call, right? So we've got over 10,000 locations in the US. We serve New Zealand. We serve Australia. Canada, you have to come across the border. We've done, some in Mexico, some in Germany, and then the UK.
And a phlebotomist can come to your house, or you go to a facility, or depends on where you're at.
Yeah, 5 to 10 mile radius, or we can send a phlebotomist to your house.
Okay.
Yep.
They draw your blood.
That information comes back to our functional medicine team 2 to 3 weeks, although it's running a little bit later than that right now.
Why does it take that long?
The labs.
Okay.
Yeah, the labs. It's not us. It's one of those pieces that, it's not, we don't own that piece.
Yep.
Right. Love to at some point, bring some capital in and really own that piece, right? Where now you've got Fitscript trucks all over the US that are just going and drawing blood. That's all they do, right? Or administering whatever the test is that you need, whatever stage you're in.
Yeah.
But that information comes back 2 to 3 weeks later. But in the meantime, right, you're coming right into the community of like-minded men. So you get access to the community, you get access to the coaching calls. There's 4 coaching calls a week if you're in the group coaching option. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. There's a call every, 4 days. And then you're in a group where there's 24/7 access to coaches and the other guys. And so you're seeing meals and you're seeing guys talk about their wins. They, some of them post pictures in there. Kids are eating better. Like, they're becoming fucking superheroes, man. I've got guys that were on depression meds, antidepressants that are now not on medication anymore. I got guys that were going through divorces that have rekindled marriages because they've become better humans through this.
That's incredible. People overweight, losing weight, people underweight, gaining weight.
Confidence, right? Confidence. You start loving yourself again. Now you believe you're worthy. You're looking in the mirror. You're like, fuck, who's that guy? Wow, I didn't even know he existed. Now your wife is looking at you differently, right? It happens. I hear it. Like, man, my wife, she's making passes at me again.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
You know? And there's this one thing I say too, like, is your wife celebrating you or is she tolerating you?
Oh, that's powerful.
Right? Is she tolerating you or is she celebrating you? You should be celebrated, but maybe you don't deserve it. Right?
Yep.
And at an early age too, like our kids, when they're 3, 5, 6, 8, maybe even 10, they're looking up to you regardless. But at some point, right, they're going to realize if you're the fat slob, right? If you're the fat dad, the fat, slow, weak dad, at some point your kid is going to have that realization that you're really not the superhero.
Well, then they're not gonna take your advice. I was talking on the phone with my dad the other day. He has 4 sons. And he makes comments sometimes like, you know, God, for some reason, you're the only one that seems to want to take my advice. And I told him the other day, I was like, you know, Dad, I think it's because you were so fucking miserable. I have like all the respect in the world for this individual. He worked through very brutal situations,
right,
but he wasn't happy. And so it's like I think intuitively at a young age, we start, we can feel it if our parents don't feel good.
You
and you
figure
can't
it out.
Fake it.
You figure it out.
And then you're going to not want to, you're going to maybe not take all the advice. And then it becomes one of these authoritarian things where like, okay, well, if I don't do what they say, then I'm in big trouble. But it's not like you're inspired to follow what's going on. Like one of the things I noticed with you immediately when you walked in with your daughter, like she's happy to be with you.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, I'm just here with my dad. And it's like, no, this is something special there.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. And my son thinks I'm a superhero. He, to this day, thinks that I could beat up Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? Like he's like, no, Dad, you can take him. I'm like, bro, you see how big he is? No, Dad, you can take him. You can take anyone, Dad. You can take anyone. I'm like, thanks, bro. I love you.
Yeah, I love that.
But that's what you want.
Yeah.
Right? You are showing your kids what's possible by how you show up every single day.
Yes. God, and speaking of Dwayne, I'm going to be careful as I say this, but I'll just say it. I think he's a fucking lying shitbag.
You do?
Yeah, dude, it's like, and I could be wrong, but isn't this the guy who's like 50 years old, says he goes to bed at midnight, wakes up at 4 a.m., grinds hard, he's all natural? Like, that's bad. Yeah. This guy's clearly on testosterone.
He's got access to everything. Right?
Yeah, he's clearly not natural.
No.
And like,
but it's okay. So, but here's the other thing too. So natural, I get this a lot because there are some
I just have a
people,
problem with the dishonesty.
I'm
if
with
that's
you.
what happened. That's a real big problem.
Well, yes, I agree with you. And I think what I get on social media, right, is just like, you're on steroids. I'm on TRT. I don't believe TRT and steroids are one and the same. Steroids is someone who abuses testosterone for a certain result, right? Not managing it properly, not managing the rest of their hormones, not looking at labs. TRT, although still very mismanaged in 90% of the situations, TRT, the way that I do it, is to ensure that my levels are optimal, right? Low testosterone is far more dangerous than TRT will ever be. There's a host. Guys do not understand. Low TRT is extremely dangerous. Or I'm saying low testosterone. Low testosterone is extremely dangerous.
What's so dangerous about it?
Leads to heart disease, right? Fat gain, mood, frailty, dyslipidemia. There's a lot of things that happen as a result of having low testosterone. But men are just like, well, I don't want to take steroids, right? Because they've got this notion, right, that if I go on it, right, that's looked at as bad. It's like, do you want to be optimal? Like, we should all strive to be optimal, inside and out. You should be shredded. You should be strong. You should have, right, that physique that you want. And you should do it in a way where you're optimizing all of your biomarkers on the inside. That's it. Inside out approach has to be.
Yeah, and it seems that your strategy is very aligned with like the Bitcoin mindset, or a Bitcoiner's mindset, in that there's a very low time preference, high quality, a desire for a high quality existence. And I think a lot of people, based upon the problems that fiat creates and the high time preference, people want quick, immediate results. People shitcoin because they think that they're going to catch 1000x. Their life is going to be better. They're getting pec implants and lip injections and all this crazy shit.
Yep. I would agree that is the equivalent. That's the shitcoin equivalent.
Yeah.
Right? right? It's like fill in the blank, whatever that thing is for you, like you said, right? Lip injections, Botox, whatever. Not saying that some of that isn't okay, right? Depends on the person. But, you know, in order to get this thing to actually stick, it needs to become a lifestyle. And you need to stack these habits one after the other until it becomes a lifestyle. I don't have to think about my health. I don't have to think about it. I wake up, I do the same thing, right? I make, you know, my mushroom coffee and my protein first thing in the morning. I take a certain set of supplements. I take a certain set of supplements in the afternoon. I do a certain set of peptides. I have my TRT schedule, right? I do my cold plunge in my sauna. I build that into my life. I go on a walk with a 20-pound sack every other day. I go to it's all done. I don't have to think, like, if I'm driving down the street, like Wendy's or McDonald's, it's not even a fucking thought. It's not a thought to have convenient, shitty food. Never, ever. But it wasn't always like that. So it's just, you get to a point, right, where your health becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth or driving a car.
Yeah, and the things that you're doing, I mean, it seems pretty evidently clear to me, but you're implementing strategies in your life so that you can live the highest quality of life for the longest duration possible.
Yes, there's no point in having lifespan without health span.
And so you take supplements, you eat right, you take TRT, you're taking some peptides. What else do you do?
Sleep, right? Prioritize sleep. Sunlight.
So blue light blocking glasses.
Absolutely.
All
as
that,
soon as light comes down. So I have red lights in my house.
Me too, with red LED lights all through the house.
Absolutely. So as soon as the sun comes down, I'm mimicking that in my house. Putting the glasses on, lights come down. Amanda she's like, I can't see. I'm like, well, 2,000 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to see.
My wife, when we first got together, she was like, immediately, she's like, we got to change all these bulbs in the house. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? You know, and of course, like, I'm growing cannabis in these way bright, like, grow rooms. And typically we would run the lights at nighttime because the heat load is less. The energy costs are less. And I would come into the house and I'm like, I can't see anything. I'm now fully recalibrated and I'm on board with it.
LED lights, the artificial lights are horrible for you. Horrible for you. And if someone's watching, or even for you, like if you're on your computer until late at night and you can't sleep, I use Bone Charge. So I use Bone Charge.
Yeah, I do the triple click, turn it red.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Have to.
Big
right?
time.
Have to. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to sleep.
I like to lay on the couch and watch stuff on YouTube, but I have the screen. Actually, I'm going to try to buy a new TV that I have more control over the screen brightness, but I wear really dark blue light, like red lens glasses. So the color at first, I was like, this is brutal. But now actually, especially at night with my phone or if I take them off, you can feel it. It like hurts the eyeball.
100%. If I'll forget them every once in a while and I'm just like, oh my God, it's just pain.
Yeah.
It's pain. Yeah. And you just imagine, right? That's life.
Yeah. So sleep, diet,
nutrition. I'm eating whole real foods from as close to nature as possible, at least 90% of the time.
No, very minimal sugar. If you do what, honey, maple
I have a
syrup.
few. I love dark chocolate. I have, I found a way to like build things in, right? Like I have my favorite bars and my favorite, dark chocolate. I've got, I do a chocolate bone broth. Like I've got things, right?
Yeah.
But they're healthier versions of it.
It's not a boring, brutal thing.
No, I'm not eating chicken and broccoli every day.
Right.
No. So nutrition is dialed. I train every other day. 60 minutes. And I train fucking hard.
60 minutes every other day.
60 minutes every other day.
So to look like you're not in the gym 6 hours a day just killing yourself.
No, I'm 7. Last time I got it checked, I'm 7.2% body fat.
Incredible.
7.2% with energy.
Yeah.
At 43 years old.
And not some ridiculous amount of TRT or peptides.
200 milligrams of testosterone. I split that amount up into shots every other day throughout the week. That's the other thing too. A lot of guys are taking one shot a week. It's like you don't realize the troughs, the peaks, and it's just like you're just on this roller coaster.
You probably feel good, get a little aggro, and then start to crash.
So I take a nice steady dose every other day, but 200 milligrams, that's what I take. I'm on a number of different peptides. I'm a huge proponent of peptides. I think they're the future of the medicine.
Do you think there's risk in peptides? I mean,
I think there's risk. I think there's risk in anything, but I mean, peptides are just biological molecules You know,
Okay.
strings of amino acids, right? They're in your body. You have over 300,000 different peptides in your body. Insulin's a peptide, right? GLP is a peptide. All of these things, right? So GLP, you've heard of the GLPs, right? The GLP-1s.
Yeah.
That's a peptide, a hormone produced in the small intestine.
Interesting.
You know, BPC 157 is produced in the gut. MOTS-c is produced in the mitochondria.
And these peptides are injected.
So I prefer, so I've got some favorites that are in capsule form, but I love the injections. I lean heavily into that. And I've been able to massively move the needle in our clients. Now, these peptides don't come in with the Fitscript, but you come in and you get your Fitscript, which you're getting 124 biomarkers. You're getting time with the functional medicine doctor. You're getting time with the hormone doctor to just go over hormones. You're getting all of your nutrition, all of your training, and all of your supplementation designed around your blood work. We're coaching you for 12 months. And then if you want peptides and some of these other things, right? It's like, we're there. We can provide it. But it's not like, hey, you need this. Although what happens, right, is these guys come in and they see some of these guys who are just massively moving the needle. And you're like, well, how is that guy going so fast? Well, so let's start.
Totally okay. It's
Yeah.
good as family's got to be involved.
Yeah.
It's
That's okay.
a family endeavor.
So what happens is, and so you don't, where should I take it from? Where should I pick it from?
Well, we've been going for a long time. I think we need to wrap up soon. I just wanted to make sure that I understood and we kind of covered the base of what are the things that you do. I think that's become very clear. You're not doing any fancy, crazy stuff. You're clearly an open book. I mean, this conversation has been quite incredible and your story is wild and inspirational in a lot of ways and a testament to your tenacity and just ability to take radical self-ownership. I mean, the world would be a better place if more men took the level of responsibility to push through challenging things like you do.
Yeah, that means a lot.
And I just want to make sure we kind of cover, somebody gets involved in Fitscript, fitscript.me.
Yep.
You guys set up a consultation.
Yep.
They're going to get blood work.
Yep.
You're going to have a custom program across the board, hormones, diet, supplements.
Yep. So we do nutrition based on, a handful of markers, obviously lipids, your inflammatory markers, blood glucose, right? So we take a look at those markers and then put the most optimal foods in your world. And then obviously design your macros and calories based on any aesthetic goals that you have. Your training is, we're looking at cortisol, we're looking at stress, we're looking at inflammation. A lot of guys who are training. So either some guys come in and they've been training and some guys come in and they're just sedentary, right? The guys who are training, almost always, they have to take a few steps back because they're overtraining and you see it in their cortisol and in their stress. And they are so frustrated because they're training so much and they're not getting results.
Trying to force their way into getting the results that they want and they don't have the data and they're overdoing it. I mean, I'm a little bit shocked to see you look as good as you do, 60 minutes every other day.
That's it. Everybody says the same thing.
Oh,
either they think I live in the gym or they think I'm taking tons of steroids. I had a guy come up to me in the gym the other day, taking 500 milligrams of cypionate and 50 milligrams a day of Anavar and one other thing. And he was just like, so what do you do? You're fucking ripped, man. What do you do? And I just told him and he's like, wow, I would have guessed that you were on a ton of steroids. I'm like, no, I'm doing this to be optimal, right? What trajectory are you on? Right? I want to be on the trajectory, right? Where I live until I'm 120, I'm 150 and I've got, right? I can think clearly, right? I can move. A lot of people, that's the other thing too, is they don't realize in an instant, right? The freedom to move, the freedom to think is taken from you. We don't think, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I get to go to the grocery store today and push my cart around. Well, my dad, right, for the last 6 or 7 years of his life, couldn't do that. Couldn't wipe his own butt. You're not grateful every time you wipe your ass. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I get to wipe my ass today, right? But as soon as that's taken from you, you're like, fuck, I really wish I could wipe my ass again.
Oh my God, yeah, huh?
Right? These freedoms are taken from us in an instant, and that goes back to the trajectory. What trajectory are you on right now? If you're not moving, if you're not building muscle, if you're not building strength, at some point, you're going to be the guy with the walker and tennis balls. Congratulations. Is that what you want?
Absolutely not. Nobody
wants
that.
So we're talking about it right now, and I'm saying, is that what you want? No, right? Is that what you want? No, right? Fair? Cool. Well, then are you living like it?
Most people aren't. And I think it's because most people don't know what to do. That's what I think.
Do you think?
Yeah, I can say for me personally, I feel like I have an immense capacity to just grind. And there, at times it's kind of, I can have that feeling of like frustration where it's just like, and maybe it's just like a deep intuitive knowing that I just can't force my way through the rest of like, I can't just grind forever and have it get me where I want to be. But I like what you're doing because it's so dialed, but simple.
Yeah.
And, being a Bitcoiner, that's also kind of like a litmus test are the values aligned, and is what this person doing the right thing, or is it only profit driven? And I guess there are some people within Bitcoin, you could say some of the ordinals, and there's some people who have gone off the rails. But generally, if people are into Bitcoin, that's a really good litmus test for aligned values.
Sure.
And clearly you know what you're talking about. Clearly you've overcome major challenges in your life. And you've done the work. This is a proof of work situation. And so I think a lot of people are going to be deeply impacted by both your story, but also the value proposition and the things that your business is doing.
Eric, I love what I do. I genuinely love what I do. I was on with one of my high profile clients on the way here. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you always answer. Oh my gosh, you're so funky." Wait, what does he say? "You fire me up, man. You fire me up." I love what I do. I love what I do. And a lot of people coming in don't think that I'm involved. Once you come in, like, well, he's the owner, right? He's not going to be here. I'm there. I'm inside the group. I do Monday night coachings. I'm very, very involved every step of the way, because if I remove myself, I don't get the validation. I don't get to see these guys, and I don't get to hear their stories, right? Justin, 43, his biological age now has been reduced by a decade in 7 months. A1C from 6.5 to 6, testosterone from 130 to 260. The superhero for his kids again, his wife, his daughters, they're eating like him. Right? Nick, same thing. 2 autistic boys, is now the superhero for those kids, lost 40 pounds. Testosterone is increased, right? Off of his antidepressant meds.
Yeah, all these things it's deeply meaningful.
It's the reason.
Yeah.
Right? For me, if I'm removed from that, then it's just dollar signs in the bank account. But I don't get the real, like, it's my oxygen. I get on Monday nights, and sometimes we just share. It's like the locker room, right, for men, and they just share their stories, and right, and like chills, tears coming out, like, oh my gosh, like, it's unbelievable, right? Because here's the other thing too, right? There's a lot of them. Not everyone has kids, but a lot of the guys have kids. I know that if I change your life, that I'm also changing your kid's life. I'm also making future generations better. To me, like, pinch me, right? Like, how did I get here? How did I get to a place where I get to do this forever?
Something very special about it. Oh my gosh, I could sit here and chat with you forever. And actually, on that note, we should probably come to an end here. We got a dinner to go to.
Yeah.
And so where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on X, Morelli Fit. People mistake that and they say more lift.
Oh, that's it. I can see that.
I usually have people come up to me in the mall.
I probably would have read it that way if I wasn't introduced to you.
Yeah, more lift. So it's Morelli, which is my last name. 2 L's, 1 R. Morelli Fit. And that is on YouTube. That is on Instagram. That is on X. And then Fitscript. Fitscript.me. We have an IG page where you can see lots of different testimonials, but it's Fitscript.me, Fitscript on Instagram. RealPeptides.co is launching in the next few weeks. However, I think it's best to come into Fitscript and then do the peptides, right? The peptide therapy. You can go there and you'll be able to buy your peptides. There'll be some coaching on the backside of that. But I really, really believe that the best way to do peptide therapy, to do hormone replacement therapy, is to do it with data. I don't think we should be making any decisions. I don't think we should be making decisions on how to eat, how to train, what to supplement with, peptide therapy, or any of it without data. It's there now. Let data drive the decisions. We say use data, not emotions.
I like that.
You know?
And it's hard. I feel like I've done a good job personally navigating through my life using my brain and my intuition. But without data, it kind of feels like in a lot of ways I'm driving blind.
Yeah.
And as a result, I've avoided doing things that I probably need to start doing.
And the procrastination and the lack of motivation happens when there's uncertainty. Think about it. Uncertainty in business, right? Oh gosh, I'll put this off tomorrow because I don't know if this is the next best step. I don't know if this is the right next move. And so maybe it's not going to move the needle, right? I don't know for sure that I'm looking for certainty. And there's one thing that I want to just share with all the men that are listening, right? Your kids are watching you every single day. You can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, they're watching what you do. And you can be one of two things. You can be an example, or you can be a warning. You choose.
So real. That's beautiful. Michael, I've enjoyed this thoroughly, man.
You are an amazing interviewer. I'm so grateful to be here.
In a lot of ways, I don't know what I'm doing, but I appreciate it.
You always bring back to the, you take it back. You're just great at what you do. I'm super grateful to be here. I love this space. All of the Bitcoiners that I've met have become dear friends of mine. Grateful for David and for you. I'm excited to meet Robert tonight. Like, I am just really, really happy to be here and happy to serve, and just know this, you, Robert, your community, like, however I can support, however I can make the space, healthier and more optimal is what I want to do.
Absolutely. I said this recently at a dinner, and I was like, I feel like I'm peaking with gratitude. It's just like euphoric almost.
We will get you optimized too.
I'm ready.
We'll get you dialed.
I'm ready.
You will. Yeah, you'll feel a massive difference. And that's the other thing too. Not to go off on another tangent. We've got to finish here, but a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize just how much more they can squeeze out of their business by just optimizing their health, right? They think time lost. If I spend time on my health, it's time lost in my business.
I've struggled with that thought
process. But what actually happens is you don't lose time. You actually gain time because you're more efficient. You've got more energy. You can think more clearly, right? You have more confidence. You have more drive, right? Like, you're not losing time. Trust me. You are going to gain time in the form of productivity. It happens 1,000%. I've got guys who are doing X, and then all of a sudden in 12 months after they optimize their body, they're doing Y. They add a 0 just because we've optimized their health.
I could see that. Awesome.
Thank you.
Morelli, this has been great.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
You too, man.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money. And be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.